But before I describe what happens here, I just want to make a quick call out here. Intero said on Twitch, on his stream earlier, that if Space Station lose this series and they do not make it to the Invitational, he will drink a full bottle of milk on stream. But he didn't mention the specific size. So, Twitch chat, if he's in there, because he's probably in here right now, he's probably talking about, how he's outsmarted everyone. Force him. It's a 2-liter bottle of milk. He's got to do that. If Space Station loses the series, I want to see that on Twitter and on Twitch, live on stream. There's no getting around that at all in Terra. But for now, we're going to get through into the map bans, and we'll see exactly how it is going to go down. And we'll see where these is taking us. Not surprising map bans coming out so far, considering that Consulate has been one of the better maps for OrgLess.
Yeah, OrgLess have done fantastic on Consulate so far. I think they've picked up 4 wins on that map, so Space Station wanted to remove that pretty much straight away. OrgLess coming back with their own ban on Bank. We're looking at the spread of maps from SSG. They've not played all too many maps the same. More than once. They've only played Club and Consulate more than once. So not really all too much to go off, but OrgLess have never played Bank in this series or in this qualifier, so it makes a lot of sense for them to ban that one out. So you can see there that the maps are going to be Clubhouse and Oregon.
Clubhouse in Oregon, definitely very interesting. And the point that you made about Clubhouse, if you want to make it yourself this time.
Thank you. No, Clubhouse is the map that SSG beat both Rise Nation and OrgLess on the run up to, well, earlier on in the bracket, if you will. So pretty interesting to see that OrgLess have let that slip through. They've obviously got a plan for it because, you know, they've just played it a couple of days ago against SSG, so surely they'll have figured something out, and they've got a lot of footage to go back on and figure out just maybe what went wrong or what they could perhaps do differently. So yeah, could come into play.
That is definitely true, but it looks like we are just about ready to get into our very first map here. Looks like just about everyone's ready in the lobby and ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Let's see how it gets underway as we move into Space Station Gaming versus OrgLess on our first map here on Clubhouse, which should be a very interesting map indeed. It's looking pretty good for Space Station to take the series. They are definitely the favorites here.
I mean, don't sleep on OrgLess. You know, we've seen them come out of a pretty grueling game there on Villa, coming down to max OT. It all came down to Crazy to pick up a 3K toward the end. So they're in good spirits, and they're surely in a good place to be able to pick up a few rounds against SSG. Yeah,
they're definitely in good spirits indeed. So we'll see how Clubhouse gets underway, and we'll see exactly how this is going to go down. Don't forget, Clubhouse is not a great map for OrgLess, but it is a pretty good map coming out for SSG so far, especially playing against them. There's going to be a bit of a repeat of history coming through, as we'll see OrgLess with the first ban. It's actually going to be a Buck.
Yeah, Buck can do a lot of damage on Clubhouse. There's obviously a lot of potential moving down into stock to disrupt any play going on upstairs in cache and CCTV. So you know, you can definitely understand that ban. Glaz again. We're not seeing any Glaz all evening. I don't think. I think he's been permanently banned all evening.
He's been a pretty consistent ban coming out.
But again,
there's
no surprise. You know, his power is great, but Valkyrie there is going to come out as a defender ban, and the final ban is going to be on OrgLess to decide where we're going to go. What do you think? Quick
Mirror.
Mirror. Ooh, Echo.
It's always one of the three. It's always Echo, Maestro, or Mirror. I'm not too surprised by that, but I am surprised by the fact that the Book got banned out here by OrgLess, but Maverick is still on the board here. So I would argue it depends on the take. I would argue don't really need the Book necessarily here, because I can understand why they're banning it out, and it does make sense for OrgLess to do that, because, you know, if they're holding onto an area and they're trying to impact trick onto the kitchen hatch, all the Book has to do is just open up around that hatch, and he can just get a quick kill on just push the person off. But not having the Book on the board means that OrgLess can impact trick pretty easily around the kitchen hatch. However, this should mean that Space Station should realize this, and they're going to go for a church push instead.
Yeah, and the I mean, the lineup that they've brought kind of favors either side really. They've left themselves open by having 2 hard breaches there. They're going to be able to go with either, you know, they're going to be able to open both the all the hatches with Hibana, and then move on to open any church wall that they may wish. And that's one of the good things about bringing double hard breach on club. I think it really is something that can be very important, especially when you start talking about impact tricking and stuff like that. You're able to maybe bait out a little bit of that utility, but with there being a pulse on the board of OrgLess, kitchen control is going to be pretty tricky to get for Space Station Gaming.
It is definitely pretty tricky to get indeed, but I do like the fact that obviously you bring 2 hard breaches. So people talk about how Clubhouse is defender-sided, right? It has something like a 57% into the favor of defenders, just pure stats line. But what that kind of ignores is it's very, very dependent on operator bans, and I was talking to a few pros about this, and they seem to think, I seem to get a pretty good consensus that if there's 2 hard breaches up on the table, including a Maverick, then it does tend to go into the favor of attackers. But, you know, I think you'll find a lot of teams, and a lot of lower tier teams, will have big struggles on attack getting coordinated. This is not something that's happened between these 2 teams. These are 2 experienced pro teams. They know what they're doing on comp, they know how to be coordinated on attack, they've got coordination ready. I would say Space Station has looked very, very good on attack in most recent history. But we just saw OrgLess with some pretty good attacks of their own.
Yeah, OrgLess did a great job on, well, I think they did a great job on both attack and defense. There was no real one way that Villa seemed to go. It seemed to switch between being kind of, you know, favouring both the attacking teams and both the defending teams. But I think that you've definitely got a bit of an advantage coming into Clubhouse on the defense, especially when you're able to take Armory first, because you can see here that OrgLess really aren't giving anything away, and they're all playing pretty tight on site, which is something that you're able to do on this location, purely because of the size of it, and you don't need to peek anything at this point. You don't need to risk the roam, because the roam on Clubhouse can be a little bit treacherous at times, especially if, you know, Jackals start getting brought. There's a lot of good pre-placed drone spots that you can use as an attacker, and that can really, you know, shut down a roam relatively quickly. So, you know, much better idea to have a lot of guys on site ready for that final bloodbath in the few seconds.
Did he just put a thermite charge down and then doesn't detonate it? That's actually really smart if he's done that. I don't think he did because he just opened up dirt, but I don't know, I heard something that just went down on kitchen. I'm not sure if they're getting ready to just pop something, but no, nothing's going on the kitchen. I don't know, sound cues in this are very weird sometimes. I think I heard the dirt tunnel going down, so. But I mean, that could be an alternate strategy as well. You just put the thermite charge down, then you push down on the other side. That could have been good, but we're going to see Space Station just try and turn around now. They haven't opened up dirt, but they don't have a shield, and they don't have, you know, smokes or anything like that. So dirt is going to be a very hard push to actually make happen here, especially when you got Acid playing in there. But you could also say alternatively, that's actually really smart for Space Station to do, because them opening up dirt forces Legion to go into the dirt tunnel and play it, and now he can't impact trick. Jaeger's going to go down first of all, however, as Space Station start to make their push. Rampy does have control of blue, and he has the cross available to him. He does know that there's someone around here. He's going to try and push them out. 15 seconds left to go. The push has to come down. Nade moves into the site. Oh no, there goes Rampy. And Charlo moves in. He takes down Yeti. It's now a 4v2. The control of the site still into the form of OrgLess here. Looks like Charlo is going to be able to put, Redeemer puts down the diffuser, and SSG will be able to take control of Arsenal. Now it's going to be a hard retake coming out from OrgLess as they attempt to rotate around. SSG looking pretty good in control here. Redeemer takes down Brian. Now it's all down to Crazy. We see him do some pretty crazy things before. On the last map, let's see if he can pull off something here. He's going to rotate all the way into kitchen. No one's holding the hatch and could get away with something here. Does still have a Nitro Cell. He takes out the Flank Wash drone. They know he's up here. He's going to go for the pre-fire, but Redeemer's just better. And he takes down Crazy easily as that. Round number 1 going into Space Station. Very convincing.
Space Station did a great job there of establishing a lot of control, which is something that OrgLess kind of let them have to a degree with the way that they played that site. But Space Station really didn't sleep on it. They were able to take very good control, open up what they needed to open up, and essentially execute the plan whilst having full armory control and picking off players as they went. It's a difficult place for OrgLess to be because they didn't really do anything too wrong. I think they just maybe lost 1 or 2 little gunfights there, which caused, you know, quite a large effect later on in enabling the control that Space Station, you know, were allowed to gain.
Yeah, and I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think the big saving grace for Space Station there was that, so they can't get that kitchen hatch open because they don't have a bug, so they can't book around it. They're relying on the sledge to do a little bit of work there, but you've also got to worry about the pulse on the board. But instead, they opened up dirt, they're not intending to push dirt because they don't really have the operators to do it. Instead, they're baiting it out. They're droning it out. They're convincing OrgLess that someone is going to push dirt now. Even though it doesn't really make much sense to do so with the current lineup, OrgLess take that bait. They move the Legion into dirt, and now Kitchen Hatch is open. Now Space Station have control. Now they have space, and now they can go for their execute. Really well done from Space Station to take quick control. It was kind of a shame that Rampy lost his gunfight, where I thought he was going to win it rather convincingly. I mean, Rampy is a record breaker at the moment. He is, I believe, he's the record holder for most kills in a single map in a pro game.
Yeah, he dropped, was it 22?
22.
22
yeah.
Ks. It's a crazy number to think about, especially when you're talking about, you know, the highest level of Siege. For one player to be that influential and be able to pick up that many kills, it's an operator that you're really going to have to do something to deal with.
I will say, during that game though, just before it, Rampy was the #1 in ranked in NA, and he's on the Ash. That is not a man you're going to start winning gunfights against. He's on Ash, he loves it. Okay, Rampy is the definition of someone who loves it. So yeah, there we go. Just Ash maining through all the way through. Redeemer's going to be running ahead of him. Already, Rampy has control of Secret. That means the rest of the push can start to go through, because all Rampy's going to do is just going to hold the angle here, and then the rest of the push is going to come through. He's going to put a flank rush drone as well, and this is looking pretty good. I think, yeah, so he's going to hold it here, and you can see where the rotate is as well. So this is really good.
It's the same angle that he played last time and he was successful, but also very patient, only pushing it at the right time, waiting for the rest of his team to be able to get into position. And that's something that's really crucial, is knowing the right time to apply that pressure and apply that aggression, and just patiently sat there waiting, watching the angle, but, you know, quite passively. He's not really in all too much danger there, especially because OrgLess aren't playing any sort of role. C4 toss is going to come out there, but it is not going to connect. Unfortunately for the pulse of the pulse of Yeti there, he's going to miss out on that one, which is a little bit of a shame because he maybe would have wanted to save that for any kitchen pressure, which Thinking Nade is now being, you know, he's able to apply that pretty freely. The pulse has been baited out. I think it was actually himself that baited the nitro cell out, so he's able to operate now in kitchen pretty freely, and it should free them up to maybe get kitchen hatch open if they've got an angle down onto anyone that may be trying to impact it. Rampy's actually left his position at the top of Secret, and he's going to go rotate back. Bosco is going to pick up a kill onto the pulse. So that's going to be a lot of information lost at this stage.
Yeah, a lot of information gone, and that is really critical at this stage as well, as you mentioned. And now SSG have a lot of control. They just opened up the kitchen hatch as well, and they have a rotate from bottom of main stairs into Arsenal, but Rampy just opened up. So great utility usage coming out so far from Space Station. They know they have the entry into the site. Smoke's going to go down, but that's a little too early. The push hasn't even come down Big Bright yet, and this man is already premature of smoking.
I guess there was only 30 or so seconds left on the clock, but you're right in what you say. You can definitely save those smokes for later on. Rampy's going to pick up a kill onto Acid, but my man is going to be waiting around the corner to trade that one straight back out. 10 seconds left on the timer now. Thinking Nade coming down dirt tunnel, putting some shots in. Can't seem to find the head of Crazy. Bosco picking up one onto my man. Crazy getting one onto Thinking Nade. And another 2 quick kills come out for Space Station. The diffuser was down at that stage. Bosco and Shala there picking up the final 2.
Great ability coming up from Space Station as well to consistently play objective. They're concentrating around getting a plant. They're not concentrating around getting kills. I will say, though, that Rampy has consistently lost that fight in blue, although at that point it wasn't really his fault because he's inevitably going to get traded there anyway. And I think he just saw the opportunity and just went for it. That's completely fine because Ash dying at that point, you're not really using any utility, and he's doing that so that they can get the plant down. So him dying from blue is better than his teammate dying from Arsenal and him getting the kill in blue.
Yeah, the space and the opportunity that he opens up in the objective by removing the man from the objective is outweighed because the guy that kills him in blue is able to get traded as soon as he comes to the doorway or through the soft church wall. So it's kind of a worthwhile trade at that point. He knows he's probably going to die doing it, but essentially it's a worthwhile trade. It's worth it. We're going to see a change of bomb site now, which is probably a pretty good idea from OrgLess. They do seem to not really have much of a response for the push that Space Station are putting on them downstairs in Armory, so they're going to opt to go up to Cash instead. Maybe avoiding this because of the fact that Maverick's available. Maybe they didn't want to have to try and deal with that, but Space Station Gaming haven't actually brought the Maverick.
Well, I also think that OrgLess banned out the books specifically for a downstairs defense around that, to play around that kitchen hatch, but both times they didn't manage to successfully impact trick that kitchen hatch to keep it closed. It got opened eventually, and they went for the same push every single time. And generally, you'll find that teams, if they lose 2 defenses in a row, they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's definitely time to switch things up at that point and just, you know, reset. Treat it like a, you know, a little bit of a reset and try and get something else happening. But, I mean, Buck's got a lot of value on this bomb site as well for trying to remove any sort of bandit. If there's, you know, correctly placed ADSs, they can cause quite a lot of problem. I think Thatcher there maybe just taking those out, which is going to allow Thinking Nade to maybe rotate onto that window and make it a little bit uncomfortable for Crazy to try and get a bandit trick off, which is going to be a tough job for him anyway because they've got double hard breach. But it all depends on how they apply that. I think that's going to be is that the second bandit battery destroyed maybe?
No,
he's still got it.
Nice, very well done from Crazy, but flashbangs are going to go down. That's going to stop him from being able to bandit trick, but Big Bri just white peeks down and takes down Charlotte. That's already Habana gone. That means they need to push through this east wall and get it open, but the nade comes through from Crazy, but no, he does avoid it. But that wall gets opened up eventually. Spacestation looking pretty good because they've opened that wall up at about 2 minutes, and that is very, very quick to open that wall up.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost Shala in the process, but with the wall now being open and only using one exothermic charge on it, I think they're able now to rotate back through into construction and perhaps get one of the walls open there looking on into sight. Unfortunately, did suffer a disconnect there from Bosco. I'm sure he'll get himself back in the game as soon as possible, but that isn't going to play into Space Station Gaming's favour at all at this stage, as that now takes us into a 5 versus 3 in favour of OrgLess. Yeah,
looking pretty good for OrgLess so far, and they've still got a person playing on top of Garage. And, you know, without a Glass, this is fairly, and without a Capital as well, without nades, this is really hard to dislodge someone. I think Thinking Nade is actually going to go below here and try and frag him out. But 1 minute left to go on the clock. Smokes are going to go down. SSG is starting to lose time here, and they're starting to lose a little bit of patience, it seems. As Thinking Nade is going to rotate all the way around. It's like Space Station could just kind of hammer it on the nail and just push all the way through this east server wall and see exactly what they can do. They do have quite a lot of utility still available to them, but they're starting to run out of time. What? Rampy just runs all the way into the site. He picks up Big Bri. Acid goes down as well, and it's all good for Space Station as they start to go for the plant. Rampy still taking damage from the Legion Mine. He doesn't care, but Yeti will pick him up. The diffuser does go down. Space Station in a pretty good place. We'll still got a pulse on the board, however. Yeti going to rotate all the way downstairs. Thinking Nade's still holding down the rotate as he pushes all the way in. Oh my god, Thinking Nade, it will go down. Redeemer picks up a man in return, however. Now it's a 1v2. It's all down to Redeemer. He's going to try and redeem the dream. It's actually crazy. He's actually down now. Redeemer will pick him up. Redeemer with a double kill. It's the frag bite, baby. He'll go on the way through. Space Station tip round of 3. Despite a disconnect, despite an early pick. Oh my god, what a play from Redeemer.
It really didn't look like a round that Space Station were going to win, and then all of a sudden Rampy rushes into sight, is able to pick up a quick kill. Thinking Nade's able to back him up and pick up a second. And it just made it so... I think that OrgLess maybe at that point were really not expecting that kind of aggression to come out from Space Station, especially after having suffering a disconnect like that. So we are actually going to go to a rehost, and we're just going to get Bosco back into the lobby, get all the players in, get the round count correct, and then we'll be going back in very shortly. But an explosive start, I think it's fair to say, from SSG.
Yeah, explosive start, especially from Rampy there. His ability to run into sight and kill people is basically just what Ash does. As you actually read the description on Ash, the bio, it just says run in and kill people. That's all it says.
Shift W.
That's the tutorial, right there and then. But yeah, Rampy's great at doing that, and I think he was the saving grace there, because him getting that entry kill gave them control of the site immediately. OrgLess had absolutely nothing in response, and I think that Yeti could have played it a little bit better as well. I think he was trying to deny the plant from below, but at that point, it's kind of over. You've lost control of the site. He might have been able to play it a little bit better if he played with Maman and tried to refrag him off him instead of pushing all the way up onto the stairs and dying at the late time.
Well, it's usually typical to see a ACOG playing up on the catwalk.
Yeah.
Usually a dock or something like that, so they're able to, you know, revive if they manage to get caught by a grenade or something like that. So it was a little bit odd to see the Pulse playing up on Garage catwalk like that. You would have expected him to be downstairs, especially because the 3 remaining players on SSG were all outside on rappel or on the top of the roof outside the east cash wall. So
really good adaptation coming out from SSG.
Yeah.
Losing 2 early players is not a thing you want to do, but as I said, they got that east wall open really, really early on, and that cannot be underestimated. I'd say that the average time for teams getting it open, depending on how coordinated they are, is only about 1 minute 30. So them getting it open 30 seconds earlier than that, I say 1 minute 30, 1 minute 40, kind of depends on your like utility that you've got available. But them doing that without a Capital, without a Buck, without a Maverick, they didn't pick any of that, and they still got it open really quickly due to great coordination. So yeah, really well played from them coming out. I'm kind of amazed they didn't actually pick up Crazy when he was rotating.
With the grenade from Thinking Nade, yeah, he was rotating off the bandit trick. It's like you say, it comes down to that coordination, and you could see that Thatcher wasted absolutely zero time getting straight up onto the roof, deploying the EMP, destroying the ADS, then going on to pressure the bandit, making it look like they were just going to try and Thatcher the wall and all this sort of stuff. And then the grenade comes through, and it was that synergy and that, you know, teamwork, cohesion, you know, all those sort of good things that really made it very easy. And I think that had they not got that wall open so early and they suffered the disconnect, that round could have gone a different way.
It definitely could have done. And their whole, as I mentioned, they kind of just went, okay, we've lost control. We need everyone to play together again. It's the 3v5. We're just going to push into the site. They send Rampy in first. Even if Rampy dies there, it's not the end of the world because they can trade off of him. They can still get the plant down. They can still recover the round. And that is the important thing about Rainbow, ladies and gentlemen. Do not give up. Anything is clutchable. 1v5, do it in my sleep.
Well, I mean, from the previous game, we saw Crazy. That looked like a very impossible position from where he was. He was, you know, he was on study balcony. He was outside, just trying to hold the plant. And all of a sudden he picks up a 3K because, you know, the players of Rise kind of lined up a little bit for him, but they didn't really have any choice because of where the diffuser was. There's a guy that's got to be diffusing it. The doorway's right there, right in front of it. So there's no option but to line up to try and save the guy that's diffusing. But, you know, an impossible play, but something that does get picked up. And it's like you say, sometimes you've just got to throw that aggression at it and kind of try and catch your opponent off guard. And I think that's what Rampy was able to do there. And, you know, Thinking they'd obviously backing him up, picking up the kill straight away after him as well.
Yeah, and then again, just great plays coming out from all of the Spacestation. Their coordination has been pretty unparalleled throughout this matchup. OrgLess a little bit struggling here on the defense on a defender-side map. Although, you know, I did mention before, with a bunch of hard breaches, this does turn around, but I don't think we can attribute to that. Spacestation have been playing this very, very well. They've been playing it very, very smart at that. They've looked at exactly what OrgLess' setup is, and this is something we mentioned last time as well when OrgLess were on their defense. They don't tend to play different setups.
Yeah, I think the way that they played Armory, the way that OrgLess defended Armory, they tried to do the same thing again, but SSG just had such a good response for tearing it down the first time that it was just like rinse and repeat for the second time.
Although I will say the second time they sent Nade through dirt, and he managed to pick up people on the cross, which was much better from them. So you can even still see, even though Spacestation are winning rounds, and they're winning against the same setup, they're still constantly improving.
Yeah, and that's the difference when you start thinking about you know, a team that's operating at that, you know, that high level of competitiveness, is they're able to make these in-house adaptations on the fly in the space of a round that lasts, you know, 3 minutes and, you know, 45-second prep phase. So it really does sort of attest to how good of a team they are. But I mean, we were kind of expecting something similar to what's been going on. I mean, SSG have obviously beaten OrgLess on Clubhouse before, so I don't think anything too out of the ordinary yet, but I think the way that OrgLess have been losing these rounds has been quite convincing. It's not really been all too close.
It's just been about perfect dismantling that's coming out from them, and people may be looking at this and going, yeah, okay, you may be right. You may be seeing that they're tearing it apart, but you just said, Stunner, it's kind of attacker-sided when it's hard-reaching. But it's not about that. It's about the way that they've been playing. It's about the way that they've been adapting. It's about... I think a lot of this does also come down to Lycan, to, you know, coaches' roles. I'm a coach myself, so I'm a bit biased. But coaching roles can't be underestimated. And the fact that, you know, SSG have had such a great performance in recent history, I think a lot of that does come down to Lycan, and also the prep work that's coming from the team. They've been putting the work in recently. They've been able to adapt on the fly much, much better. And this is really paying off for them. And as I said, I think this is a big reason why OrgLess coming into this matchup are definitely not the favorites.
It'd be interesting to see what happens when OrgLess get onto the attack, because we've seen them attacking quite well
Yeah.
on both the previous maps that we've seen this evening for them. I mean, to be fair, we saw them defend very well on border as well. OrgLess were very powerful on defense, but they seem to have very well-established positions, locations, and ideas of how they were holding things. They were very fluid in the way that they moved through the map, and that's something that Clubhouse doesn't really allow for. Your movement through the map is fairly well restricted because the hatches are just so much more important than they are on a map like Border, for example, where you can leave the hatches open and then rotate down them later. If you leave hatches open on Clubhouse, you're just leaving yourself far too open for the attackers to push when that eventually does come through. So I guess that Clubhouse as a map, it doesn't really suit OrgLess and their playing style from what we've seen this evening. And I don't know if it's a case where they're going to have to start trying to roam a little bit more and take a few more risks and get a couple of early picks, because ultimately just playing on site isn't working all too well for them. So we'll have to see how it plays when we get back in. A little break is never a bad thing for a team that's just lost 3 rounds on the bounce. That I will say.
That is very true. I would like to see OrgLess get a little bit more experimental with this, but it looks like we are just about ready to get back into this matchup with everyone back in, hopefully. No more disconnects, no more problems coming through as we're getting back into this incredible series between Spacestation Gaming and OrgLess. And as I said, I want to see OrgLess do something a little bit different here, a little bit out of meta, because you can't beat Spacestation at their own game. You can't beat Spacestation in the prep work. You can't beat them where it counts. You have to take them somewhere that they're not comfortable with.
Where do you think that place is going to be?
I think it's going to be Bar.
You think we're going to see a Bar?
So during the invite calls as well, we saw Tune Squad, which is Talon's new team, we combined with the Ex-Nomads roster with A-Factor as well. And they did a really good bar defense. I think there was a mistake with the rehost.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
So we will be just getting the players back into the lobby and just fixing the scoreline there. Obviously, it was SSG did actually pick up that third round despite losing the man. So
ESL just couldn't believe it.
We'll be getting the players back into the lobby very, very shortly. But moving on to why you think there may be a bar. Can we expand on that just a little bit more?
I think, well, I don't think there's going to be a bar.
You'd like
I would
to be
like to see a bar. I would like to see them go somewhere different. Also, there's no book. And I think that without a book, bar becomes a little bit different because, you know, people look at bar and they're like, this is completely inviolable. You can't hold this site. Then Tune Squad come in, they take people there, and people have no idea how they want to attack it because they're not thinking on that basis of why this is undefendable. They just immediately assume it's undefendable. We don't even think about it. Most teams won't even dry run an attack or a defense around bar.
I think it'd be a very bold play for OrgLess to come out with a bar defense. But having said that, if Armory isn't working all too well for them, then it might be worth trying to give it a go because you never know, it might really catch SSG off guard. We could see some absolute brilliance come out from OrgLess. They maybe got something in the back pocket that they've not yet shown us. And ultimately, if the Armory isn't going all too well, which should be a site that the defenders do okay on. I know we talk about there being a lot of hard destruction and there's a lot of potential to open absolutely everything, especially with Maverick being available. So I think that, you know, a bar wouldn't be too bad to see. We've not got a glass, so that removes a lot of the worry of, you know, any long lines of sight or smoking off and being able to brute force your way in. And I think that if they manage to catch SSG out, SSG maybe wouldn't be left with the right operators because 2 hard breaches don't really have all too much value when attacking that site.
That is true. Something that Super brought up during when I casted with him during the North American quals during stage 1, he brought up the fact that if you're bringing 2 hard breaches, you're kind of taking away your like kill factor, right? Your ability to start getting frags and your ability to play those fragging operators. I mean, we didn't see that from Redeemer because he's playing the fragmate, and I guess he's just born for it. But you know, some people are like that, and it does work out for them. And you play Thermite for the gun, right? You know, that's why Redeemer plays it, not because he's a support, because he's an entry. But we will see finally getting back into Clubhouse. So it's gonna be Spacestation Gaming take on OrgLess. We're getting into round number 4, hopefully, as Space Station are 3-0 up so far, going flawless. Let's see how it goes down. So, we are going to see a Church Arsenal Room defense coming out yet again from OrgLess. They seem awfully committed to this strategy. I do like the Maestro coming out from Yeti, however, but I still just feel like Spacestation is going to take this in the exact same way they have been doing. Maybe with minor improvements. They could rotate to a Church attack, but I think they realize that OrgLess invest quite a lot into Church.
Yeah, there's like you say, the only main difference is we're seeing Yeti now pulling out on the Maestro and not taking the Pulse, which I don't know if that's, you know, I'm not going to say it's not a great idea, but I really think that the Pulse holds quite a lot of value, especially being able to tell where the push is coming from and when players are going to be making that drop or when they're going to be pushing down main stairs.
I think it's fine, honestly, because I can't see where the Pulse has actually done much here, even on the upstairs take, and I think that, you know, even... So when there's no glass and he's banned, the attackers can't see through smokes, but if you have a Maestro or bulletproofs, that means the defenders can see through smokes. So if smokes are going down, you know, the attackers are actually going against themselves here. I mean, we've not really seen any smokes so far from Spacestation, but oh look, OrgLess, they have a smoke.
Yeah, maybe they're looking to play off those evil eyes and make good use of the smoke. I mean, we've seen Brian picking the smoke before on this bomb site, and he has been able to sort of stem the flow of the attackers, but it hasn't been all too, you know, successful to this point. We're going to see Rampy on his very typical entry into Garage, but Crazy there, just playing a little bit off site. He's going to be making a nuisance of himself over on the main stairs, and could this be a small attempt? No, he's going to make his way straight back down onto Church Wall, back where he's safe, getting ready to place some bandit batteries down, no doubt. I thought that could have maybe been the sign of a tiny bit of a roam and just a bit of a, you know, trying to just get a pick or get something going for OrgLess, because I think that's what it's going to take at this stage. It's going to take a little bit of a flair, a little bit of a bold individual play to be able to break this mold, because at the moment, SSG are just doing what they've done normally. They're able to take all the map control that they want pretty much for free. They're able to open up the hatches, and they're able to work down onto the site.
Yeah, a bit of jive, a bit of groove coming out here, but we're going to see how exactly that's going to go down. EMP is being used so effectively here. That should be a beautiful nade, but oh no! Not thinking too hard about that nade, as he will start to go through, but not get the pick just yet. But the ADS getting burned by the EMPs is something Spacestation has been doing consistently throughout the series already. That is looking really good for them to be able to play off the nades quite like that. He's actually just put another ADS down in blue, so the man should be able to play this around this quite well. They surely don't know that ADS is up, so it looks like they're shifting their attack completely. This is much slower for Spacestation than they were doing before.
Yeah, they've certainly not got as much of the floor open up in Kitchen, and that's a little bit weird considering that there's no Pulse, because surely there's a little bit of a worry of, you know, a Nitro if you're going to be going and trying to operate in Kitchen if Pulse is there, but with Pulse not being there, I would have thought that that would have got opened a little bit quicker, just so that they can maybe try and avoid the impact trick and get the hatch open and then start working on from there. You can see there a pretty tight angle being held down in blue. Rampy just going to quickly check his drone, see if he can maybe pick up this kill onto my man or call out for the nade. The nade does come through, and it does some very good damage down there onto my man, taking him up to taking him down to around 25. Rampy is going to make his way back up to the hatch just to see if he can get any sort of a peek down there onto my man, as he's just trying to keep himself out of harm's way there, keep himself away from the grenades. But with 20 seconds left and all 10 on the board, saying that, Yeti's going to pick up a great kill onto Chala, and Rampy's going to get that kill he was ever so desperate for onto my man. 10 seconds left now on the clock. Rampy peeking through, picks up the kill onto Yeti. Acid going to get one of his own onto Thinking Nade. 2 kills coming out there in quick succession, quickly leads us into a 1 versus 3. Bosco's going to get cut down by Acid, and OrgLess are going to take their first round on defense on Armory.
Much better defense coming out from OrgLess there, because this time, you know, you're saying how they should have got Kitchen Hatch open earlier, but the constant contesting that was coming out from my man in blue, he played that very well himself. He's constantly on there. He doesn't let Rampy take control as early as he did previously, and Spacestation were wasting a lot of time in utility to try and force him out of that position so they could go for a push. They tried to do the same push they did last time, where they just open up the side of Arsenal, and they push in through that. Yeti completely denies all of that with Maestro.
Yeti there just baiting out the Clash pick, and maybe forcing Bosco to switch off the Thatcher onto the Zafir there on the 6 pick. that could be quite crucial because Bosco's been doing a great job so far on Thatcher of being able to, like you said earlier, effectively use the EMPs to destroy the ADS devices. Using the EMPs on ceilings and floors is a very, very good way of being able to deal with that. And that was something that was so crucial last time that OrgLess held this defense, is the nade that came through that ultimately enabled the armory, ultimately enabled the CCTV wall to be open. But this time, with no bandit.
We don't have a bandit, and then I'm not upset about that from OrgLess. I would like to see maybe a mute come out here, just because, you know, C4, shotgun playing close angles, which we've already seen from England be very, very effective during the last map. Maybe OrgLess just aren't comfortable with doing that here. I'm not sure how I feel about the castle, given that Spacestation have brought a sledge every single round.
And an Ash, and now they've got the Zafir with the lifelines. I think that you've got to have something to try and keep hold of that wall, because as soon as that wall gets opened, the attackers have got the angle into garage, they've got the angle into the rest of the site. If they get control of the window on the other side, then they've got a decent cross. All of a sudden, you're just not feeling very comfortable in the site at all, and it kind of leaves it open for the attackers just to, you know, just to sort of take it. I think you've got to hold some investment in that wall. We're seeing the wall there be opened at 2 minutes 20 seconds, so a little bit sooner than last time it was open, but you know, nonetheless, it's a lot of time to be uncomfortable in the site. And Rampy there on the rappel is just going to be looking to see if he can get a peek onto anyone, which is probably going to be a little bit difficult for him. I don't think that the players of OrgLess are going to be exposing themselves all too much. They obviously know they've not brought the right operators to deal with you know, keeping the wall shut. So they're going to have some sort of a plan as to how they're going to play off this. And I think he may have just destroyed an Evil Eye there, which is going to be a bit of a shame for Yeti.
Yeah, and OrgLess have played that micro cam before, where they put it in the corner there. And it's kind of hard to spot out, but, you know, Spacestation have good control here. I'm just looking, have they opened up the window there onto server that was castled? I don't think so. I know they have done. What I was going to say is that it can be bad to castle that out, because if they get control of the site and plant, you now have no way of like jumping out and putting pressure that way. So yeah, do's and don'ts there, but it's going to be opened up, and it looks like Spacestation going to go for a fairly traditional attack for what they were doing before. I think it's going to be all about, again, just Rampy, just trying to get in, just go for kills. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're not relying on that because he can get traded. But he's actually going to go below, and he does have the soft destruction. He is castled out here, so he does have control of stock. They could go for a construction push, but my man all the way from Oil Pit will pick up Thinking Nade. Rampy's actually going to make his way through into Lounge, it seems. He's going to be droning out for himself here. So a little bit of bad coordination coming out, but I assume they already know that downstairs is clear, so it shouldn't be that bad. But they know my man is still on the prowl. This man's looking for kills. He's on the Jaeger. He needs the kills. Rampy, again, another man who needs the kills, is going to get away and does take down Crazy with a nice headshot. Now it's 40 seconds left to go. Now SSG is starting to run out of time. He knows that the Jaeger's playing secret. He knows that someone's in the garage. Charlo going to push all the way up here. He's getting Legion Minded. He has to get the kill, and there we go. He will get it. Yeti goes down, and now 30 seconds left to go.
Redeemer there going to pick up that kill onto my man down in Oil Pit. 4 versus 2 in favour of SSG, and Brian now going to be left on the smoke, just trying to deny this plant as the push comes through from the garage. Is he going to be able to pick up this kill? He does pick up the down onto Rampy. He's going to switch to the shotgun. Is he going to be able to pick up any kills with that? He is. He's going to pick up one onto Redeemer. He's going to peek his way out, but the Zafir is going to catch him. Bosco there picking up a double kill to finish things off, and Space Station are going to win that round. A little bit of a different round to what we've seen. They managed to get the wall open very early, but with how Yeti was playing on Garage Catwalk, he made it very difficult for them to do anything. They had to take a lot of control, and the castles really slowed them down. The OrgLess weren't too far away from that one, I don't think.
No, they definitely weren't, and it was all about time management from them, because their setup and the way that they were playing around it, especially Yeti on the Maestro, he's kind of uncontestable in that angle. And when they didn't have nades available, because my man made a great rotate, and I can't underestimate enough from that how much that almost threw that round into OrgLess's favor, because he's picking nade before he can really do anything there in that round on the stairs. Kind of poor flank watch drones coming out from SSG. They should really expect someone to do that on Oil Pit, because it's a very common peak spot to come out. But I mean, that's all, you know, hindsight 2020.
I think what it did do is it removed Sledge's ability to be able to quickly deal with castle barricades downstairs, and that certainly slowed them on later on into the round when they were looking for that
I'm
more
mainly
control.
concerned about where Yeti was playing, because if you notice, as soon as that pick went down, that entire push into garage completely came to a halt. They couldn't push him out anymore. Whereas what they, were intending to do there, I hope, is that just to nade him out of that spot.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the Yeti's probably going to be playing up there yet again. He's got a, I think he must have had an ADS up there last time, but I think it was Zafir that managed to burn that from outside with the lifeline, just to allow Thinking Nade to get the nade through. But it's, like I said, it wasn't too far away from OrgLess. I think there's certainly a lot of value in going here again and just trying to try it. The break has certainly done them a little bit of good. They did manage to pick up that first round after the short rehost that we did have, but SSG is still coming out pretty dominant. And again, at least we've got the mute this time, because that mute should be able to hold that armory wall, that cache wall for just a little bit of time.
Stay back.
They definitely should be able to. What I would kind of like to see from SSG, and I know they probably won't do it because they tend to do the same attack, if it just works for them, and they'll just kind of just improve on it as they go. And it should be good for them, but I kind of would like to see them abuse the fact that the castles are going down where they are. So they put a castle down onto supply room door, into lounge, and that could allow Rampy to go below and just kind of abuse that angle. Thinking they'd already finding a fight, however, not looking too good for him, but they have managed to open up garage here. They should be able to cut off the cross. That's a very weird angle for Nade to try and take there, but I think he was convinced someone was playing on the stairs. Either that, or he just picked a Legion man. I didn't quite see.
No, a difficult angle to peek, and I think that's the rest of the garage going to be getting opened up. That's certainly going to make Yeti feel pretty uncomfortable in there. We've got Rampy out on Eastern Balcony. He's going to be desperately trying to find this kill onto Yeti, but the smoke grenade is going to come out, and that's going to save Yeti and allow him to get back down onto his little safe place over on that garage catwalk behind his deployable shield. I'm not sure if that ADS has got any uses left in it. My man there really struggling to get rid of that drone, and that's probably going to cost him, because Shala is going to be all too aware of where my man is playing now. Rampy going to pick up that kill onto Acid. Thinking Nade getting another one onto Yeti. Very quickly, it's turned into a 5 versus 3. Rampy's going to pick up another as Crazy tries to peek out. He's definitely aware there's another one there. Manages to hit another shot, taking out Brian. Thinking Nade's going to get my man as he rotates up, and that's going to be a very quick conclusion to round number 6 for SSG.
I'll mention it again. Rampy is, I'm pretty sure he still is, #1 ranked in NA. He's playing on Ash. It's not a person you want to peek like that, or at all, really. If I was OrgLess, I would be terrified of that man. Outside on East, and he's picking your operators, and you're trying to refrag him. What I'm gonna say is, who's peeking? Who's peeking Rampy in such a powerful position, or such a powerful operator that he's consistently being able to do insanely well on? And he's just getting so many impact frags coming in, and he's just opening it all up. And it's just looking terrible for OrgLess. They can't win a gunfight against him. And that's been the cause of so many victories for Space Station, of Rampy's ability to just go in and just kill people.
It's the R4C. It's got to be.
It's not, no, it's not the R4C. I'll tell you, the R4C is not as good as everyone thinks it is, but it's the Ash mentality. Once you're on the Ash, you believe you can win every single gunfight. And that confidence, combined with Rampy's just innate ability to just kill people, I think is what bringing them to round 2.
It was a difficult challenge for the guys on OrgLess to make, because they were going at it with Mute and Smoke, so they're likely got the SMG-11, and in that sort of a scenario, it's going to be a very difficult fight to take. But we are going to see a switch of sides now, as SSG are now on their defensive phase, and that obviously allows OrgLess to switch over onto their attacking phase. So we're going to see Crazy on the Ash. Is he going to be able to sort of reply or respond to how successful Rampy was on the Ash for SSG? Yeah. We will have to see. But
maybe he'll put himself on a ramp and do some crazy things to launch them into the space station.
I'm not too sure about that, but I'm excited to see how SSG hold this, because they were obviously so successful at attacking it. There's got to be something in that as to, usually if a team can attack a site fairly well, they've usually got a pretty good idea of how to defend a site fairly well. And if they're able to defend it against the way that they attack it, then that's something that's definitely worth, you know, really paying a lot of attention to, because OrgLess at this stage are going to obviously try and take it the way that they know how to take it. But if they can, you know, adapt and take it the way that SSG were taking it, with taking good control of Secret and over on Blue and get some hatches open and apply some pressure that way, we could see this shift a little bit now and OrgLess pick up a couple of rounds.
Potentially, and we were talking about this before. We're interested in seeing how OrgLess do here, and they have already got quite a lot of control. It does look like they're going to go for a moto push, however, because they just use a thermite there, and they're burning ADSs, and yeah, it seems like they're going to drop down moto, try and open up church wall, and push it that way instead. Seems kind of obvious, but the way that OrgLess is kind of shifting their attack at the moment seems like maybe they're not actually going to do that, because I'm not sure why Brian's going bottom of mainstairs if they are actually going to do that, and we see Chala is ready to bandit trick this out. So it's kind of both ways here at the moment. I'm not really sure where OrgLess is wanting to push here, but they have a lot of options. We talked about this already, that they're giving themselves options constantly.
They're certainly going to need to do something with blue stairs in order to in order to get some control. You can see there that the double hard breach is working as the wall certainly gets open. My man's going to pick up a grenade kill onto Bosco. Chala's going to get one onto Brian. Crazy going to trade it straight back out with one of his own onto Thinking Nate. Crazy with a double kill, picking another one up onto Chala. 4 versus 2 now in favor of SSG. Rampy there finding a great wall bang through the wall onto my man Yeti, trading that kill straight back out. Redeemer, oh, he was so close in stopping the diffuser going down. Yeti going to pick up that kill, and that's going to be a round on the board for OrgLess. They attacked that very well there.
Yeah, I just want to point out, I don't think he could have been close, because that's a hard wall where he was shooting, because it's church. He's planting in the corner of church.
Oh, it looked like from the spectator, it did look like it was
very
close.
Very weird, isn't it, sometimes? But yeah, I just want to point that out. That I mean, it's still like we've seen Redeemer clutch 1v4s, 1v3s before on the Maestro. He's done very well before, but OrgLess is looking very good right now. We're moving into round number 8. We'll see how they do this, but Spacestation, you know, there was some mistimings coming out from them, like especially for me when the church wall got opened up. They didn't impact trick at all.
Attackers need
despite
to
the
locate
fact, I mean,
and defuse
they
the
had
bomb.
that option, right? They had the option to, you know, they had the Legion, so they could have impact trick the church wall rather than trying to impact trick the kitchen hatch. And it kind of seems obvious to me that OrgLess don't want to go for a kitchen hatch take, because their book ban, to me, was kind of based around them denying that.
I mean, they're still bringing the sledge, so they've still got the potential for that destruction, but I do know what you mean. Kitchen just is a very dangerous place to go when you're looking at a pulse on the other side, because of the information that they can gather and obviously the potential nitro throw. So I think OrgLess did a great job there, and I think it was just a case of the grenade came out from, I think it was my man came out with the early grenade kill, and the wall got opened at the same time. They did a great job of opening the wall. They just struggled to impact that purely because they used a Hibana on one side and the exothermic on the other. So I think they'd have probably maybe got one or the other, perhaps not both. And if they'd have got the exothermic, there'd have probably still been a couple of Hibana pellets that went off and created a little bit of a hole to make it difficult. So I think you can't really take anything away from OrgLess that round. They did a great job of getting that wall open, but are they going to be able to repeat that this time, or is SSG going to be able to adapt ever so slightly and just stop that from happening?
Definitely, they had a really good shift to their attack as well. I still feel like though that sometimes OrgLess make it a little bit too obvious where that push is coming from, whereas Space Station, when they attacked downstairs, they were kind of all over the place with what was happening, and maybe OrgLess caught on a little bit too late to what was actually happening, and kind of just went from there. But yeah, we'll see how it goes down. I think that OrgLess is going to attempt the same take here, and it does make sense for them to do that. My big issue with how Space Station held this, as I said, they didn't impact Church Wall, and I think that they would have gained a lot more control if they had done that. I'm a big fan of Smoke bringing impacts on the basement defense here, as well as having a Legion impacts.
Yeah, the barbed wire is valuable, but at the point where the players are in the site, I think that the goo mines can do a lot of that work at that point. So you perhaps would sacrifice the barbed wire on the smoke and just bring it on the bandit and the Jaeger instead. You've still got plenty of potential there for you know, slowing the attackers down.
And I would agree with that, but I'm pretty sure Chala's incapable of playing bandit barbed wire, because I've never seen this man do it. I'm pretty sure he always runs the nitro. But I mean, we go back to that, we talk about it, but the last round this was really bad from him, but Redeemer is going to take down Brian. That may be just GG right there and then, because that's Thermite dead, and they didn't go open Church Wall. They only got open Moto Hatch with that ability. X-Carriers are going to go down, but it's kind of pointless at this point for Acid to even attempt this, because he only has one set of X-Carriers. A lot of this attack came down to the crutch that they're going to get that Church Wall open with that done. But my man is going to nade out Bosco very easily. And this could be a 4v4 situation. X-Carriers are going to go down. It looks like half of them are going to get Banner Trick there by Charla, but some of it does get opened up regardless. Charla still playing the Nitro Cell, and he's going to be holding down Church to see what he can do here, as my man finds yet another one. Rampy's off the board, and now it's a 3v4, 2v4 as Acid moves in. He takes down Redeemer, and my man finds another one. Oh, what is going on? It's all down to Charla to see what he can do. He's going to be holding down behind. He takes down my man. Finally, that monster is slain. Charles going to find 3 more if he wants to bring this in. He's going to rotate through Moto to see what he can do, go for the pre-fires where he can, but the diffuser does go down. In a very bad situation now, flashes will go down. Charla still holding down Moto where he can and peeking out what he can as well. He does have rotate into blue available to him, but this rotate should be cut off. But everyone from Org is playing so safe right now, setting up the crossfires and just baiting him in. Charla going to move all the way through, trying to find these gunfights, trying to do what he can. He just take down Crazy, but he can't find another one yet. He will trade him out. OrgLess take round about 8. Very well done from them in the attack.
Yes, he did a good job there clutching that kill, because I had a small sneaking suspicion that if Chala picks up that kill onto Yeti, the Hibana was a long way away, and there was an impact hole at the bottom of Armory right near main stairs that would have provided another angle of attack. It was definitely possible there for Chala to do some good work, but OrgLess again managing to chain 2 successful rounds together on the Armory attack. Something that they did struggle with on defense. Are we seeing Clubhouse favouring the attackers today?
Well, I mean, I've been bringing this point up the entire time. If there's no Hard Breacher band, I really think that it is slightly attacker-sided, and I think we're definitely seeing evidence of that so far. We are going to finally go up to CCTV room and cash room coming out from Space Station. Let's see how they're going to do this. What do you think of this site? Because we've seen Castle already here. I'm kind of interested to see where Rampy puts these castles.
I think the castle's good. I like how it really slows the attackers down when they're looking to try and do anything below, and if they're looking to take stock control or hang around at the top of blue stairs. I really like how it can slow that down, and I also like how it can sort of make bedroom a little bit less of an issue, because you can place some castles there and again just slowing the attackers down. And like we've seen, if you're able to get an early pick on someone like a Sledge, it really can affect the attackers in a negative way.
Definitely can. And yeah, we are going to see armor panels go down, but on the exterior walls this time. And again, I don't necessarily agree with this, because there has been a Sledge pretty much every single round, but what we mentioned last time when this happened, when Space Station were attacking, their Sledge got picked very, very early on, and you mentioned how that's kind of affecting how quickly they can actually push downstairs.
I think the value in putting them on external doors, should I say, sorry, is a little bit less when we've seen Ash and Sledge brought every single time. That's just going to be like a bit of a free give in terms of opening it, and it's also something that the attackers can drone behind relatively safely. Like, they're going to really hear that if it's coming down. So I kind of feel like it gives a little bit too much over toward the attackers, but we can hear there the EMP devices going off, and I'm sure that the cache wall will be getting open pretty soon. We've already got the bottom of Garage open, and my man there just going to put his drone in and see what's what. Brian there just peeking on through a X-Kairos hole there in the east wall toward cache. Just trying to find out if there's anybody playing on in the site, but it does look as though there's no one really contesting Garage from SSG at this point.
Not really at this point, though.
Oh, sorry, we have got Redeemer in there. He's led down.
He's not actively contesting it, so you are still right. He's not actively contesting it, but he is still there. He does still have a presence as you'll be playing around this. The Glaz not being here and the Capital not getting picked by either side makes this much easier for Redeemer to play, and him having Charlie below is also very good as well. He's actually going to rotate all the way out of there, that gets impacted. He's just going to play bottom of oil pit. My man got away with this last time. I'm interested to see if Charlie gets away with something similar. Nades are going to come out from my man himself, as we won't see any picks coming down just yet. Redeemer still playing here very aggressively and still holding it down just as successfully.
He's certainly got himself really locked in in that position. He's established a good foothold. Chala there is going to find the head of my man. So Sledge out of the picture. If there was any grenades left, that are not now. But Brian is going to make his way on into the site. Yes, he's going to pick up a kill onto Chala. Brian's going to get another one onto Redeemer. Another kill going to come out there from Yeti, and now we're in a 4 versus 2. Bosco tries the C4 toss, doesn't quite manage it. The plank goes down. Thinking Nade takes out Yeti. Acid going to pick up the kill onto Bosco, all down to Thinking Nade. He's still got a gas canister in hand, which he does toss out just to try and provide himself a little bit of cover. Acid there, well placed to pick up that kill as Thinking Nade rotates through the top cache stairs. And another round on the board for OrgLess. They've now chained 3 together in a row. They're looking pretty good.
Redeemer did a good job there of just kind of being annoying and just sitting there, and he timed it quite well with Chala going below, which is exactly what OrgLess did as well on their defense. They played someone being really annoying in the top garage area, and then they rotated one of their defenders downstairs, my man on the Jaeger, and he went down below. And it's kind of ironic that my man dies to his own angle. So we'll see how the rest of this goes down. But yeah, OrgLess are definitely proving that they're not only not to be trifled with and not to be put down, but they're also proving this is actually very attacker-sided right now.
Yeah, it really is, and it doesn't make things very easy when a game is, you know, falling heavily in one favour or the other, whether that's the attackers or the defenders. I think, like you said, the bans do have a lot to come into that, and having all the hard breaches available is really allowing a lot of stuff to get opened. And it speaks a lot where we've seen both hard breaches brought pretty much every single round up to this point. It does just go to show how powerful this is. We're seeing the mirror now brought out by Shala. So he was obviously on the Jaeger last time, I believe, that we were down here in Armory. But this time, switching things out, he's going to choose to go on the mirror. They're not going to reinforce Church Wall fully, which, you know, they could pay the price for that.
He played Bandit last time.
It was Bandit, was he?
Yeah. He was trying to Bandit trick, but I just want to point out as well that, yeah, this pick is good for Chala, mostly because he's not doing anything here. They're not successfully bandit tricking because they're doing the same thing every round where they put Habana on the one side, which covers 2 church walls, and they put the thermal on the left, and that's just impossible for bandit tricking. You can't do anything there, and on the flip side of that as well, you got my man tossing nades into the site as well, and it just all starts to collapse from there for Space Station. So I like this adaptation coming out from them. I think it's much better, and I'm excited to see how the mirror plays out here, mostly because we haven't seen much of mirror today.
No, and it's an operator that has been available in a couple of games that we've casted so far, and it really hasn't seen a lot of playtime, which is strange because if mirror's available, usually you're going to see it played. Often the mirror can be played over in cache as well, which is something that, like we say, we haven't seen yet, but my man's going to go down there, he's going to get all the information that he needs and run back upstairs with his drone, just keeping that nice and safe, ready to deploy that on a flank watch. And the floor is no doubt going to start getting opened here, and that's really going to allow OrgLess there to, you know, put a lot of pressure down onto the site. And there's even angles that they can get. If they could get a grenade down onto where the mirror's playing, that can cause a little bit of disruption. If they had a book, this would be a field day.
Yeah, and this is what's allowing him to play this mirror so aggressively, is that there isn't a book. So he can play that fairly aggressively, but there is an Ash to be wary of, and there could have been a Zofia coming out from OrgLess because they have brought it before. But it looks like the kitchen hatch should be able to get opened up. No, Rampy's going to impact trick it. Oh, beautiful, coming out from the Rampster himself. As he just go just about halfway into the round now. And this is looking actually really, really good for SSG to hold on to this because there isn't that much progress coming out from OrgLess so far.
No, and they've deployed a lot of utility as well to get to where they are, and it hasn't really paid off for them this far. I'm not sure how many exothermic charges we've got left on Brian, but Acid is going to use his last X-Kairos there, just in a desperate attempt to get this hatch open. They are going to stick this time, but he spent all 3 of the charges to actually get that open, and now it's all going to be onto SSG to just wait for the attackers to peek into their line of sight. There's no reason for them to peek anything at this point. 45 seconds left on the clock. We are going to be, I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing a bit of a bloodbath in these final 45 seconds. Crazy there, just desperately trying to find anything he can onto the castle plane down there, but Redeemer is going to pick up the kill onto Brian, so that will take Thermite out of the picture. Smoke grenades are going to come out, flashbangs are getting dropped. It looks like we're going to see a 3-man drop of Kitchen kitchen hatch, and this is surely only going to end one way. Yeti is going to be placed in the dirt tunnel, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get there in time. The drop is going to come through now. Acid is going to get taken out. Thinking they picks up a kill of his own as well. Yeti getting one, and all down to Yeti now in this final situation, but he hasn't got the diffuser in hand. He picks up 2 kills, but time is certainly going to run out as the defenders just sit tight and don't peek.
Operators, you have run out of time.
Space Station Gaming did a great job of winning that round through a little bit of patience. OrgLess left themselves with no option but to just 3-man drop kitchen hatch, and it just really didn't work out for them.
Yeah, and again, kind of from OrgLess, they kind of make it a bit obvious where their push is coming from. And again, I want to put it down to the adaptation coming out from Space Station there. Picking the mirror completely destroyed OrgLess's plan there, because they wanted to go church and open it up again in the same way. They see that mirror. I don't want to contest that. They're going to shift their attack instead. Then it becomes very obvious because they're putting multiple Excaros down on the kitchen hatch. They're desperate to get it open. And I also want to point out as well, and I did mention this during the first half of this map, this is kind of why I like playing a smoke with impacts here. Because Rampy ran out of impacts to impact trick, but if the smoke had had impacts here as well, he could have impact tricked as well. He might have died for it because a bit of it was open as well. But if he impact tricked it, there would just be no entry coming out from OrgLess.
Yeah, I mean, the smoke grenades don't even come into the picture if the attackers don't get onto the site, so yeah, definitely correct in that. But
well, also what you could have done as well there is he could have smoked the hatch, then impact tricked it, or got himself into a position where he can impact trick, and now you're just wasting even more time, and OrgLess can't really do anything about it. So I still think that there was ways in which Space Station could have played that better, but yeah, they do win the round, and I think a lot of it came down to adaptation with the mirror.
So we're going to see Bosco choosing to take the bandit this time, which is good because previous 2 rounds on Cash we haven't actually seen, we haven't actually seen much bandit play or much mute play. We've just kind of been given the armory wall, given the CCTV wall up for free, and that makes it very difficult then to do anything with it. But we're of course on match point now, so SSG aren't really going to want to leave anything to chance at this stage. They're going to want to try and close this game out and close this map out. So, ooh, Brian there probably going to. Ooh, I think he just manages to hear that as the bandit battery was about to be placed there, and he does manage to save his exothermic charge. So no doubt going to redeploy that over on the CCTV east wall. Bandit was downstairs in garage, but I think he's probably made his way back up by now. Crazy's going to pick up a nice kill there onto Thinking Nade, so mute's going to be no more. The wall is going to be open, and that's going to put the remaining members of SSG in a bit of a tricky spot. But Redeemer well placed to peek out onto that east balcony, just there trying to find their head on the Hibana, but Hibana just around the corner, not really too exposed there.
Not too exposed there, and Redeemer again, as you mentioned, doing a great job just holding this angle and just being annoying, letting people know that he's here and he's contesting this angle is going to force potentially a garage take hit, but they've already got the wall open and it is a 5v4. They can play off their man advantage here. Redeemer is not in an ideal situation to hold this, but Charlie is backing him up. He should be able to take the drone out, and he does so successfully, and the peaks are going to come out. Redeemer is getting pushed from every which way angle. And again, there's no Capital coming out, so it's very, very hard for anyone to actually push him out of here without the use of frag grenades. And hopefully, they are going to come down. But Charles is here playing bottom so that they can contest this. And there's just so many peaks coming out, but no kills just yet. Nades are going to come out from my man, however. He's going to nade the corner there. I assume there was a Maestro cam again in that corner, and that's why he naded it. But Redeemer going to be playing around here still very carefully.
Yeah, perhaps he maybe just missed through that onto the just hitting the door frame on the way in, and that would have been a little bit unfortunate. But Redeemer there, he's still causing a nuisance for himself, and it's just really not allowing OrgLess to pressure in at all. He's even waiting there to find his perfect shot because he knows that this push is certainly going to be coming very soon. Doesn't quite shoot there, which is maybe a bit of an oversight. Acid's going to pick up the kill onto Chala on entry. Ooh, and Acid's going to barrel stuff Bosco there. Rampy's going to get one onto Crazy. Rampy's going to make that a double before getting traded out by Brian. It's all down to Redeemer now, and he is very low health. 1 versus 3. The plant is going to be going down. I'm not sure if he's got the information as to where the attackers are at this stage, because he seems to be just letting them plant, but perhaps going to go for a retake on this. He's very unsure of where these attackers are at this point. And he's got a tall order here. He's 1 versus 3. not got a great lot of health on the board, and there's no reason at all for OrgLess to peek anything here. They just need to hold these angles and make sure that he doesn't be left with enough time to get this diffuser off. It's going to cause Redeemer to play a little bit aggressively. He's going to get up to the rotate hole there, but he knows that there's somebody that's going to be watching it, and it's Brian that's going to pick up that kill, just denying SSG at that match point.
Yeah, that was definitely really well played coming out from OrgLess. So, you know, we'll see how it does go down, as we will see OrgLess move through onto round number 12, 1 round away from bringing us into overtime on Clubhouse. And I think it's going to be a bit of a flip of a coin.
It certainly could be down to a coin toss, depending on if we do go to overtime. If it does, you know, depending on where the coin toss lies, if it lies on the attacker side or if it lies on the defender side, it will depend on you know, which team goes. Because I mean, the current trend is that it seems as though we're seeing it go heavily one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how it does go down, as we do see a 6-bit coming out from Redeemer onto the Legion, which is good. I think he was trying to bait out a shield to be brought out here from OrgLess to try and change up the attack, but from both teams, we haven't seen a huge amount of adaptation. I think I would have liked to see maybe a mirror here again from Spacestation, and maybe play, you know, a mirror onto the server wall itself, just to stop them from taking it so quickly, because without a book, it's pretty hard to actually do a construction push here without getting Bandit Trick pretty much instantly. So, you know, we'll see how they do actually go through this round, and we'll see how the Legion plays out here and what kind of adaptation that's going to bring in.
5 seconds to go.
It is certainly looking good for OrgLess to bring this to an overtime match point, purely based on the rounds that we've seen so far. We've seen 11 rounds. 9 of those have been won on attack, and 2 of those have been won on defense. So the odds are heavily stacked in OrgLess's favor now. But SSG really aren't going to want to give up this, and they're going to want to make sure that they're able to close this one out, as we've said. So definitely still all to play for. And we're going to be seeing CCTV cache yet again. It is an objective that I think this is the only objective that we have actually seen won on defense. Sorry, this is the only objective we've not seen won on defense. So everything really is pushing against SSG right now as the
toxin set.
Yeah, so, you know, we'll see how this does go down. It's going to be all again about getting this east wall open as quickly as possible. And OrgLess are a big fan of doing this, where they put the Habana on one side, they put the Thermite on the other. You can't Bandit Trick that. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? You're just completely locked out. And I think SSG are getting caught out by this constantly coming through. I think they're starting to realize this now, that they're just not going to be able to do that, and they're not going to be able to waste as much time as they maybe want to do. The problem with doing this, though, is that you can't pick the Bandit doing that. Flashbangs are going to come through, frag grenades coming through as well. Desperately trying to pick this Bandit this time, but he's going to try and go for the Bandit Trick, but he's not going to be able to get it successfully. Yeah, Bosco realizes there's no way he's winning that. I'm still not sure what to think about this Legion pick coming out from Redeemer.
I don't mind the Legion pick. Maybe he felt like the Maestro wasn't really offering him all too much. I don't know if the Evil Eyes were maybe getting destroyed a little bit too early by Ash, or if he just feels like he wants a little bit more sort of denial in the form of goo mines, or a bit more information maybe for anyone that might be playing off-site.
I think what was happening is that the ADS is getting destroyed immediately by Thatcher, and they're just destroying the 2 Maestro cams that are in the server. So, yeah, I don't think it's offering much, and also he's often the last one alive in that position. So he isn't even offering much. You know, he's holding Garage down, but it seems like OrgLess don't even need the Garage control to actually bring this in. So, yeah, the Legion does add in a little bit more viability in terms of he's adding stuff in when he's not there on the map, and he's still holding Garage, and he can still just sort of hold it. But we'll see how the rest of it does work out, but oh my god, my man just runs all the way in there with the SMG-11. There goes Bosco. They're going to move all the way into sight. Acid finds one to Redeemer, find the Garage control in theirs. But Charla and Rampy go huge. They get kills of their own. Oh my god, Charla goes all the way in, but instantly traded out by my man. And now it's a 2v2, looking very, very close. 20 seconds left to go on the clock. It's not looking too good for OrgLess, but they do have control of Diffuser. They can still go through and see exactly what they can do here. But Crazy going to try and plant in the middle of the site here.
10 seconds
Well, man
left.
tries to cover him. Thinking Nid just come around. He tries to beat this out. He knows the Diffuser is going down, and the Diffuser will go down successfully. He tries to take the fight, but man will actually get injured here, I'm pretty sure. Oh, but Nade takes him down, and now it's all down to Crazy on the Ash. Let's see how he can do it. He's looking pretty good so far. Holding a really weird angle, but the flashbangs go down. He goes for the pre-fires, but thinking Nade wins it out with the crouch peek, and Space Station Gaming will take the round, and they'll take the map 7-5.
SSG there are pretty much against all the odds. Were able to pick up that defensive win on cash. Really wasn't something that I was anticipating seeing, especially with how that round was playing out in the early, well, not the early, but the good couple of early picks that my man got rushing through the construction side, just tearing through. So very well deserved, and I think that it's certainly a sign of things to come that we've definitely got a good game on our hands, because OrgLess OrgLess came out there to play.
Definitely. I mean, you always see Clubhouse with this kind of score line going through, where it's like very, very, very close, but it always tends to go to one side or the other, and I kind of feel like it's a bit of an unbalanced map because of that. But yeah, both teams were coming out on top. They were adapting each other very well. I think Space Station in the end came out on top because of adaptation, because they're changing their roles up, because they're changing the operator lineup up, and yeah, in the end, it just comes down to that in the end, really.
I think the crucial round was SSG round 10 Armory, because that's when they brought the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's when they were able to really keep hold of Kitchen Hatch because of the impact grenades that they allowed themselves, the fact that they didn't lose any control in church, and the guys were just able to really operate on the site, and it forced OrgLess to try a 3-man drop onto Kitchen Hatch. That was certainly a really important round, because it was breaking the mold of all the rounds being won on attack, and it was a key round for them to win on defense that shifted the tide.
Yeah, good adaptation coming out from Space Station for sure to bring that in. OrgLess having a few things to work on there for sure before we move into map number 2. But I'm still not convinced from OrgLess's performance there. They're playing well. They're playing their strats well. They're doing well. They're winning their gunfights. You know, Crazy was doing very well for his team as well. They're sorely lacking in the adaptation field, though.
Yeah, I think it's the repetition is something that a team like Space Station is very quick to call them out on it, and they're very quick to adapt and to overcome it. It's something that you can't have these player tendencies where players are doing the same thing over and over again, because like we've already seen, the teams that are able to make the adjustments on the fly, they're the teams that are going to ultimately win competitions, they're going to win games, and they're going to go all the way because they're able to adapt to the way, you know, the game that's being played right in front of them, and they don't have to take it away to, you know, do some VOD review or, you know, develop another strat in a dry run. Because of I think it all comes down to like the teamwork and the synergy of being able to mix and match the roles and pick up slack here, there, and everywhere. That a team like SSG is literally on the flip of a coin able to say, right, we're going to do this time. This hasn't worked the last 3 times. We're going to bring the mirror. You're going to try and impact trick the Kitchen Hatch more, and all of a sudden it shifts. And then, I mean, they did a fantastic job winning the last round on cash anyway. That was something that at one point it really didn't look like they were going to. It looked like we were going to go to an overtime. So, you know, it's all about the adaptation, like we've been saying, and Space Station have just proved there that they can hang with it and they can do that.
So, we've seen SSG do well on Club before. Obviously, you mentioned with your great analysis and great stats going through that this is definitely one of their better maps, specifically against this team and also against Rise as well. So definitely good for them to bring it here. I'm kind of surprised that OrgLess let it get through the ban phase, but it was very close. And I think OrgLess had the right idea. And this is what I was saying, is that I would like OrgLess to do something, you know, weird. And they did it. They banned the book. That's a very weird thing to do. And I think maybe Space Station seemed like they were going to be a little bit slow to adapt to that. But then we saw they're bringing Thinking Nade on the sledge. He's doing really well with that. He's opening up everything they need to. And really, it didn't really change the outcome in terms of the actual result, but it changed the outcome in terms of what push became viable. But then I felt like when OrgLess went on their attack, they were kind of playing against themselves and they refused to go for that kitchen drop. But we are going to get into our second map here shortly. It's going to be Oregon. It's going to be OrgLess versus Space Station Game. This is potentially our last map of the series, and I'm sure Intero is very happy about that if it does end here. But we're going to get in. It's going to be Oregon. Space Station start out on the defense.
Let's see what the bans have in store for us today. We're going to see the Glass ban yet again. Again, no surprises really there. Oregon's a map that both teams have played once in this qualifiers, and they both won it. So not a lot of VOD to really go back and review of recent time for, you know, seeing how each team played it. We're going to see the Ying ban come out there as well. I do love a Ying on Oregon. I always do get a little bit upset when Ying's removed from Oregon.
Well, I mean, it's either you love the Ying on Oregon because you like playing it, or you hate a Ying on Oregon because you hate people who just candle it into the site and just shut you down instantly. But the Maestro ban coming through, definitely very interesting coming out from OrgLess. We'll see how Space Station are going to respond to that. I would guess they're going to ban the Mirror here because they don't want to ban the Echo because they rely fairly heavily on their intel. And there we go.
Yeah, I think OrgLess coming out there with the Maestro ban really put it on Space Station to take away Mirror. And it was maybe a good little bit of a bait there because Mirror's usually an operator that is seen on the first ban because the attackers really don't want to go against the Mirror downstairs in Laundry. But to kind of take the Mirror away from yourself as well, it seems like it's a little bit harder to do. So, you know, they've done a pretty bold move there by taking the Mirror away because you could see that as making your Laundry rounds easier for your first 6 rounds on defense, and then kind of just dealing with it as you have to when it comes to your turn on attack.
Yeah, we could definitely see that come through. We can see 6-bit coming through from Crazy for the Capital and the Mute coming out from Bosco. So, what do we think about the lineups? What do we think about this map?
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I was excited to maybe see a Monty because it's not an operator that we've seen this evening. We've seen him baited a few times and then 6 picked out of, but you know, no real surprise. I think without there being a glass there, it kind of removes a little bit of Monty's sort of value, if you will, and the ability that you've got to, you know, really brute force your way into a site with smoke. Obviously, you've got the Capital, but you do miss out on glass being able to see through the smoke. So we're still going to see a bit of a meeting hold upstairs from SSG, which isn't all too unusual. But I'd like to see how heavily they do try and hold meeting. They've not actually reinforced the meeting hatches yet, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, there's only one of these hatches you've ever reinforced, and that's the hallway hatch. The other one, the electric hatch, only gets opened up not only for the rotates, but to stop a blue rush coming through. So we'll see how round number 1 gets underway. But this is it's a very slow setup coming out from Space Station, or maybe they're hoping to bait out a quick rush coming out from OrgLess. We'll see how they respond to that, but this is very aggressive already.
Yeah, OrgLess aren't really wasting any time in trying to establish some good rear tower control. We've got 2 guys already on rappel, just making sure that T3 is going to be clear, as that's going to be the entry point there for, I believe it's Acid up there, as Yeti just comes in onto tier 2 as well. Making his way down onto meeting, getting some attic control. But I don't think it's something that's really going to concern them too much because it doesn't appear as though Space Station Gaming have got all too much of an upstairs roam presence. I think there's maybe someone playing on Armory stairs and someone playing over near Kitchen, but Yeti there just trying to find any pre-firing angles that he can onto meeting. There we go. Bosco playing upstairs in Armory, and he's going to be making sure that Garage isn't a viable entry point for the attackers.
Yeah, this is pretty good control already, though, coming out from OrgLess. They've moved quickly into Big Tower, taking control of there. They don't even necessarily have to push the roamers out, they just have to hold them down. And this is something that I went back and I talked about on Border, when OrgLess attacked there, and they used that brilliantly. They realized they don't even have to take Armory. All you have to do is take Archives, open up the floor, and you just push like that, and you just hold down the rotates. And that worked out pretty well from both sides. And I'm kind of hoping that OrgLess plays something very similar strategy here, but they realize they don't even need to push out all of the roamers from Oregon. They just need to get control, and now you see, they've already got control of the meeting hall.
Yeah, meeting hall control is very important, but we've still got Rampy there in Kitchen, and he's probably just biding his time, waiting to make a rotate through the meeting, through the Kitchen meeting wall, as we have got Yeti playing in there. I think Yeti might even be on his drone and maybe unaware of Rampy's presence there. No, Yeti is actually holding that angle, very much aware that the threat is incoming from Kitchen, and just waiting to pounce on that opportunity, although maybe a little bit confused, maybe thinking he's upstairs in attic. This is all wasting time for the attackers. OrgLess, they're not stalling out at this stage, but they've taken good control, but SSG are kind of slipping through the fingers a little bit. Redeemer there going to come out with a big C4 kill onto Brian, and Rampy is only just round the corner there. He does manage to pick up that kill onto Acid. 3 versus 5 in favour of Space Station. Doesn't quite manage to pick up the kill onto Yeti though, as Yeti drops the hatch, but quickly gets taken out by Chala with only 15 seconds left on the clock and only 2 attackers remaining. Bosco's going to make short work of the last 2 with a C4 and a shotgun pump.
That was just a mess coming out from OrgLess, honestly. They were kind of all over the place with it because, so they're pushing, they have beating hole control, they have everything that they need, all they need to do is just hold down the roamers. They let Rampy get all the way into meeting hole, and I don't know, it just kind of went down from there. I would point out the massive mistake that came down is Yeti flashed and then dropped.
Yeah, he didn't leave a hell of a lot of time in between those two. He kind of half flashed himself. He really made the defenders aware that that's what was going to be going on in that scenario.
So Charla has to peek that hallway as soon as they start to get control. Yeti puts the flash down to maybe give himself a bit of zoning, but then he has to turn around. But then he realizes someone's about to peek in, so he has to peek into him, and then it just all goes down. Yeti doesn't win that gunfight, but he kind of put himself into a bad situation. Whether you rack that up to bad timing or not is kind of up to you guys, whether you think that's what happened or not. But you can't underestimate the fact that OrgLess at the last minute there for that push, they seemed all over the place.
It looked on the face of it as though they took good control, but they only took control of rear tower, and they never really had full control of meeting, purely because of the rotate that was going through into kitchen. And the way that Legion played that is he played it in such a way that OrgLess could only push halfway up into kitchen before they were exposing themselves from the rotate hole, and it really just didn't work. They didn't have control of meeting, which meant that dropping hatches, and even though they managed to get the kill onto Legion in the end, they just weren't comfortable, and they didn't leave themselves with enough time to be able to execute once they got onto the site. And I think it was a good example of SSG in the way that they were just being very slippery on the roam. They just couldn't really be pinned down.
Yeah, I mean, so I talked about this at the very start, and I do want to bring up Border again because it is a very likable situation. Whereas Oregon is very much all about the roam, Border necessarily isn't quite. It's more about lurking and just taking control, and it's not really about completely roam control, depending on how you play it. Like if you play Pulse, maybe, yeah, sure. But Oregon, definitely all about the roam game. If you can waste a lot of time on the roam, it'll be good for you. And I thought that OrgLess's initial take was really good because they were just ignoring the roam, and they're saying we don't even need to take control because we already have beating hole. We can do a backside push. We don't even need to go front. And I thought it was a great exposure, but then all of a sudden they just lose control.
Yeah, and I think they didn't really pay any attention to main door or classroom or anywhere else on the map, and I think if they'd have maybe deployed a little bit of utility or a few bodies over there, it could have just really helped to pinch, create a pincer movement, and they would have been able to push out the Legion from kitchen with relative ease, and it would have allowed them much more freedom of movement upstairs. Whereas they did ignore the roam, but then they kind of really needed to deal with it, and then by the time they got onto site, it was just a little bit too late. So it might be nice to see them maybe run a Jackal. I know it's quite, a little bit extreme, and you losing a lot of utility from another operator there, but to have the ability to, go in through master bedroom upstairs or bunk and just get any footprints you can, do some drone work, and then you've also got the smokes for the plant. Maybe that's something that could work for them next laundry, but we'll have to see what goes down.
Adaptation is something that, as we said during the last map, is that OrgLess has been severely lacking in. Maybe they're trying to think too far ahead of themselves. Maybe they're trying to think, we can bring the same lineup. We just made a few critical errors here and mistakes, and we can fix those on the fly. Maybe they have a bit too much faith in their ability to fix things on the fly rather than just changing it up and doing something different.
Yeah, I mean, there becomes a point where you can't rely on winning that gunfight anymore. You've got to rely on putting yourself in a better position to be able to win that gunfight, not the same position that you were last time. So I think that's the real key with the adaptation is it's not just about trying the same thing, it's about mixing it up ever so slightly to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage when that gunfight does come around. Where do you think we're going to go for the next bomb site? Do you think they're going to take us back down to Laundry, or do you think we're going to go upstairs to
Well, we
dorms?
can't go back to Laundry because they just won.
Sorry, yeah. So we're going to go back up to dorms this time. And maybe a little bit of a difference in the way that that's going to be played. A few more bodies off-site, perhaps.
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because, so without a mirror and without a maestro, they're going to bring an echo, obviously. Well, I hope so. I feel like they're just going to play most people on site, though, because with an echo, you can kind of play it fairly safe. It does also depend on if there's an IQ being brought out at all, which I think there should be from OrgLess, although whether they do so or not, remains to be seen. I will say as well, without a Maestro, all of a sudden smoke pushes become a much more viable situation, but hopefully SSG should rely quite heavily on bulletproof cameras.
Yeah, Bulletproof's definitely there for the taking. Touching on your IQ point, I think IQ is certainly viable to be picked, especially because Valkyrie's available, and there's some nice Valkyrie cameras on Oregon that you can get outside. There's plenty of places that you can hide. So all of a sudden an IQ starts to have a really good multi-purpose there in two very specific roles in hunting out the yokais and hunting out the Valkyrie cameras.
Yeah, definitely. And there's definitely a lot to be said about all of that going through, but looks like we're just about ready to get back into this matchup. It should be a good one indeed. Remember, Space Station 1-0 up so far, and a very successful downstairs defense coming out from them. A little bit hectic from OrgLess though. Let's see if they can pick it up. Let's see if they can warm up on Oregon. As it looks like we're just about ready to head back in. Yeah, it looks like everyone's ready. So hopefully we get back in here soon.
Again, a break is never too much of a bad thing. We did see OrgLess coming out pretty well after the break last time. I think they won the first round after that break, and maybe a couple of subsequent rounds.
Yeah,
I think it did happen on a change of the sides, so maybe that has something to play into it as well. Or perhaps it was a little bit earlier.
it was a 3-0.
Yeah, it was a 3-0, so it was a little bit earlier than the change of the sides, but it was really important for them just to have that small little break, maybe sort out the comms and, you know, give themselves that belief that they are able to pick up these rounds. So we'll have to see how they come out after it.
Well, let's get right back into this exciting series coming out between Space Station Gaming and OrgLess. Don't forget, Space Station are 1-0 up, not just in rounds, but in maps as well. Remember, it's the best of 3, so if they close out this, that's their ticket straight to Invitational. The loser gets nothing.
Attackers need to
Good
locate
day,
and
sir.
defuse
Get
as many bombs as
nothing.
they can.
I really like how you emphasise the nothing.
Nothing at all. And that's just going to be devastating. That's, you know, if you're in a tournament and there's a prize pool and you're in the final, you're thinking, okay, we want to win, obviously, but if we come second, we still get money. If you come second here, it's nothing. If you're not first, you're last, basically. So, we're going to see how round number 2 is getting underway, and we will see the Valkyrie coming out, but we will see the IQ coming out. No Echo, though, coming out from Space Station, surprisingly. Redeemer, you'll be playing on the Pulse instead here. What do you think about that?
Well, we were almost bang on in what we were suggesting, weren't we? I kind of hinted toward the Valk. You were pretty keen on the IQ, so the Pulse has got a lot of value playing downstairs, and I'm sure that SSG have got a pretty good plan as to how they're going to, you know, enable him to be able to play down there. You know, Smoke's probably making some holes in the floor that are going to be used to stem any pushes that are going to be coming from. Oh, that Valkyrie camera's going to get spotted pretty much straight away by Yeti, the nice one in the lampshade there in small tower. So unfortunately for Bosco, he's going to lose one pretty much straight away, but he's still got one on site, which is going to enable them to use a C4 and deny the plant. Thinking they're going to be making some holes pretty much all over the site in kids and in main dorms, just to be able to see where the push is coming from. Redeemer playing upstairs at the minute as the Pulse.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with this, because I'm going to assume they have Kid's Dorm hatch open and that he can rotate down there in a second. And also he has other ways that he can rotate down there as well. But I think that he, even if he doesn't rotate down, he still has a good position to deny the plant. He does have a nitro. You don't have to toss the nitro from below just because you're Pulse. So yeah, there's still viable ways for him to do this, and just playing next to a hard wall could be really good. This is very interesting from Bosco.
Bosco's got himself into a pretty tight position there, and he's going to get drawn by Brian. But I think it's going to be Brian and Yeti now that are going to try and bring the fight to Bosco. But he's got a rotation hole.
Charles actually playing right above him, and I think they do have some sort of kill hold, but it's not going to matter because Bosco is just going to wipe peek out of it. He takes down Yeti very effectively, but Crazy does manage to trade it right on out. Thinking they just go down, that's the Smoke already off the board.
Yeah, a bit of a utility loss there as Smoke, but you know, maybe a bit of a worthwhile trade. I mean, we've got the IQ out, but I guess IQ's maybe found everything that she needs to find at this point. She's not really going to get much opportunity when in the objective to whip out the scanner. Brian's going to be bringing the fight to Bosco now. and is going to get the kill, but Rampy's going to be there to trade him straight back out. Ooh, Rampy just narrowly missing out on a kill onto Kitchen there. If he'd have only held that angle for a second longer, I'm sure he would have picked it up. Crazy going to pick up the kill onto Chala. 3 versus 2 now in favor of SSG. Rampy going to pick up that kill onto OrgLess, and that's going to bring us down to a 2 versus 1 as Acid gets the kill onto Redeemer. All down to Rampy. He's downstairs, and the plant has surely got to be going down at this point. Kapitai is going to use his asphyxiating bolts to zone off White Stairs. Flash grenades are going to come out as well, and Rampy now is left with a hell of a task of peeking at the top of White Stairs and trying to make anything stick. But the flash grenades are going to come out. They're going to miss the mark and not quite going to be so effective. But got to play a head glitching on the B bomb, which is going to cause Rampy a lot of trouble there. And at this point, Rampy's in a pretty impossible situation, I think.
Yeah, pretty impossible situation indeed. But he has actually managed. As I said it, I thought he was going to be able to clutch it out. He got a little bit more control back, but he's on top of White Stairs and he just gets picked up by Crazy. Easy as that. And OrgLess find their first round.
I think it was a well-deserved first round. They did a great job of pushing Bosco out downstairs and making sure that they were able to trade off that kill as well. Rampy did get a trade, but ultimately I think it must have been the control that they took from upstairs. Did they come in through double window?
Yeah.
So the double window push was obviously the thing that really allowed them to be able to do that. And I'm not sure if SSG were focusing a little bit too much on holding downstairs.
Well, also, I think the big problem here was the setup for Spacestation, because if they're pushing through double window, you can still nitro over the mattress, but Redeemer didn't have the nitro set up like that. He was wide peeking out of it, and if you'd thrown the nitro from a safer angle, he would have got a double kill there easily.
Yeah, that's always the risk that you have to run with the nitro, is it's when to use that nitro cell. He obviously didn't quite get the absolute most out of it that he could have done, but we're going to go there yet again, and SSG maybe going to set up just a little bit differently this time, although we are seeing a very similar lineup from both sides, but this time no Valkyrie.
Yeah, no Valkyrie coming out just yet. I think Spacestation realized it's not a great pick for them, considering that the IQ came out immediately from OrgLess, and they typically do bring a lot of IQ. They brought a lot of it on border as well, so you know, we'll see how it does go down. We'll see how OrgLess do react to this. But Spacestation maybe not looking as strong as they were on the previous map.
It's deceiving, isn't it? Because Spacestation had a really good showing on Laundry, but then on this on the last round, on the last hold of Kids Dorms, they seem to have not quite a poor showing, but they kind of let a lot of map control, well, a lot of site control, I guess, go quite early on, and it ended up in OrgLess being able to get the plant down and really take a lot of advantage of that. So I think this round is going to sort of set the pace a little bit, and that's probably going to get Bandit tricks right off there by Chala. But the other side is going to get done as well, as the asphyxiating bolt come in, eat up half of his health in a very short space of time. That's Chala now in a very awkward position downstairs in Kitchen. Yeti going to pick up the kill onto Redeemer. No more nitro for the Pulse this round. Chala is getting harassed by the drones as the push is going to come on into him, and he's just got to try and waste as much time as he can. But my man going to come out with another grenade kill. My man's been on fire tonight with the grenades. Rampy there going to take out Brian just to try and stem the flow and pick up a kill of his own. Bosco playing close in the showers. So he's obviously knowing that he played this last time with the Valk, and with that shotgun in that close quarters, he's got a much better chance of coming out victorious if a push does come. And with Rampy playing at just outside classroom, peeking on into bathroom, he should be able to assist him. But my man's going to find the head of Rampy, thinking they're going to get the kill over onto Crazy. 3 versus 2 now in favour of OrgLess.
Yeah, smokes are going to come out, but the plant is also going to be coming down, thinking they doesn't really have too much to contest this from. He moves all the way through. He doesn't go down for it. He gets the knife. Oh my god, Acid goes down, but that's going to be Yeti instantly picking up that refrag, and now it's a 2v1. All down to Bosco. Does have a nitro cell available to him, and oh my god, he almost gets that kill. He peeks all the way around. He can see the barrel, and he goes for the ADS. He takes down my man, and now it's a 1v1. can bring this in, but he's very low HP. He's got to deal with the Yeti. Can he see where he is? He could potentially get the Nitro out from below, and we'll see how he goes down. He just put the Nitro down, but does get it! Oh my god, Bosco! He's 2 million IQ. He goes all the way up. He should just have just about enough time to get this. Oh my god, what a Nitro from Bosco.
That Nitro was incredible. There must have been some intel for him for that, because it was almost perfect. It looked like it wasn't going to hit, because it did look like he'd thrown it a little bit too far away. He kind of had his back to the player as he threw it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't argue with it.
I think what he did, he might actually have this innate ability called sonar. He closes his eyes and he can picture the entire map and where people are. And then he throws out the Nitro. But yeah, I agree. There must have been some kind of intel of where Yeti was holding. But wow, really good job of what was happening there. Space Station take round number 3 in very, very, very close fashion. But we'll see how it goes down. We're moving to round number 4. I'm actually going to see the Dokkaebi coming out from Yeti. Dokkaebi. Just trying
to bring a little bit of disruption, and it can also really help to pinpoint anyone that's lurking or roaming, or anyone that's in the site, and just get a bit of a closer idea as to where they are. I'm going to go as far as to say that Bosco clutch was really important in this game, because it really didn't look like they were going to win dorms, and it's now enabled them to be able to go back down to Laundry.
Well, they would have been able to do that.
They would have been able to do that anyway. Yeah. But they're going down there now with the confidence of winning upstairs. If they'd have lost 2 up in dorms and then gone back down to Laundry, it would have been a little bit of a sour taste, maybe going in 2-2.
Yeah.
But now they're looking at being able to potentially take this 3-2.
I think the reverse of that, though, is, you know, they win upstairs, so now they have to go downstairs. Basically. I mean, they don't have to, but OrgLess are going to know they're probably going to go downstairs now. Whereas if they had lost upstairs, there's still a potential for them to go then back upstairs. So maybe it does play against them a little bit, but yeah, there is that confidence factor to come in now. They're on map point. They do have 1 map up already in the series, so they should be going pretty confident here. Yeti's actually going to make his all way into split, but no, he loses the fight. Rampy just doesn't care. Dokkaebi, I don't care. I'm just going to kill you anyway, Rampy says, as he moves in. It's going to be a 5v4 now. And already losing that much utility, that is horrible for OrgLess.
I mean, Yeti was on a bit of a mission there. He made the Dokkaebi call. He obviously had a good idea of where Rampy was playing, because he was pre-aiming the spot. And I mean, Rampy just came off better, because I think
he's just better.
He's just better, but he's got a better gun for that sort of engagement. I think the SMG-12 can be a little bit bouncy on the recoil and a bit more unpredictable. Legion's gun tends to be much better at those tighter angles. So, you know, Rampy paid a price. He did lose a hell of a lot of hit points for it, but he's also been able to get droned out in kitchen. He wasn't pushed by my man, and now he's been able to rotate all the way back, down into meeting, into near the site. I really feel like that's a missed opportunity from OrgLess. I think there was a potential for a later trade there.
There definitely was, but it is still 5v4. There's still quite a lot of potential here for OrgLess to bring this in. Oh my god, that was almost a beautiful kill from Charla.
Charla there just putting some hella good shots down onto Highway. Brian going to pick up that kill onto Bosco. So Mute going to get caught out upstairs on maybe a bit of a lurk or a bit of a late roam, but Rampy's actually going to get that kill onto my man, as maybe punishing my man for not taking the initiative earlier and pushing when he had the drone information. It's allowed Rampy to get right back into dining. Rampy's almost doing laps of the map at this point. There's absolutely nothing that OrgLess can do to pin him down. They've probably got no idea where he is at this point, and he's now over in office, minute left, and he's just waiting to make this late push as hatch control has been established. Crazy has dropped the hatch after smoking. Shala there, ready to get the kill. Shala getting another down there onto Brian, and it's now all down to Acid in a 1 versus 4. The shots didn't land there, but Redeemer is there to pick up the pieces. Space Station Gaming going to win another round on defense.
Great coming out from Space Station here. Very conservative defense, but Crazy taking the fights where he can, taking 1v1s and consistently winning them, and giving the space that they need, because not only getting kills, right, but he's also getting very important kills coming down. There's some great synergy coming out from Space Station right now, especially the fact that Charles is almost picking Hibana through highway window when he has, you know, no vision, but he knows that he's pushing up.
Yeah, the intel and the comms on that team right now are going to be absolutely on fire. just off that last round, the way that Rampy played it was he just allowed himself so much space. And the rotations were just perfectly timed so that he could, move through the map, challenge when he needed to challenge, apply a little bit of pressure. It just allowed his team so much time and so much space to do what they needed to do. We're going to see a rear tower hold now, so I think this actually makes quite a bit of sense. SSG are obviously understanding there that they kind of won the round on Dorms by a great individual play, which isn't something that you can rely on every single time. The plant was down. Bosco went huge and got a 2K and a Nitro kill to, kill the last two and win the round. So you can't rely on that kind of a play every single time. So I think switching it up over to a rear tower does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense indeed, but we're getting into round number 5. I kind of don't like this when there's no mirror available, but OrgLess might be thinking that as well, thinking, okay, they don't have a mirror, they probably won't go here, they've got a castle, they're probably going to go into dining, and they might have brought a lineup for that. Although, knowing how OrgLess play this, and knowing how generally teams play these days in this meta, especially in North America, they tended to take the same lineup and just been making it work, so it might not actually affect that strategy too much.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a bit of value in bringing, I don't know, there's maybe a bit of value in bringing a Blackbeard if you know that they're going to be going over to rear tower, because there's a bit of window play to go on and there's a couple of angles that you can hold that way. But I think you're right, the operators that we've seen tonight have been pretty much the same throughout, with only very small adaptations being made. Although we are seeing Redeemer moving on to the Echo, which is nice to see this time, as Echo's been available this game and not yet played.
Yeah, definitely. You do see those 1 or 2 people from each team are on that flex roll, and they're changing up to see what their team needs. But Redeemer's actually going to be below with the Echo here. It's a very aggressive position to play the Echo, because if the blue push came through, which I'm assuming is reinforced and castled, that could be a bad place for your Echo to sit. But also, remember, he's got an ACOG, and he can contest this long angle, and he can pretty much contest that pixel angle as well. He's going to know if he's getting droned way earlier. And there we go. That drone stopped just short, and that's actually really smart coming out from Acid.
Acid there not really wanting to waste his drone, just leaving it just out of reach of Redeemer. And Redeemer there going to be faced with the decision of whether to move off and lose his position and take out that drone or not. Yeti there just making sure that meeting is clear, but still very aware. I think that at this stage, OrgLess can't be aware that Redeemer's playing downstairs, because they surely would have pushed that a little bit harder.
Yeah, potentially. I think Acid does know there's someone down there. I don't know if he knows it's the Echo or not. Oh my god! How do you survive that? Rampy's still alive there. Capital balls are going to come down as well as nades. Rampy's still holding position here. He's still wasting so much time here on tier 3, but no one's pushed him out just yet. He does have an Echo drone just below him to give him a little bit of intel and where to peek off of, but there we go. My man Fine going to take him down. But look how much time he just wasted, and Nades is going to jump out. He takes him down, but no, it's a double kill from Brian, jumps in. He gets control of tier 2, and now it's a 4v2. Charlie going to try and recover the site as he pushes all the way up, but they've lost control of the big tower, and Yeti is going to start to plant on rear stage. But if they deny this plant, it can go very, very well indeed. Charlie going to push all the way through onto Meeting Hall. Does get lit up, but does manage to light some up in return. Redeemer takes down Acid, but Yeti instantly trades it out onto Charlie. Now it's a 3v1, all down to Redeemer, but he can't redeem the dream. Brian will take him down. OrgLess take round number 5.
From how much time was wasted upstairs, I'm really struggling to believe that OrgLess managed to clutch out that round, because I looked at the time and it was like, I think 38 seconds and they were repelling into T3. I
think the big mistake that they were making there is that they were going for a rear stage plant, but they were taking control of tier 2. I think if they planted tier 2 instead, there wouldn't have been that kind of doubt, because if Charlo had won that gunfight in Meeting Hall and pushed through and denied the plant, Spacestation could have won that round very easily.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think had there been a little bit more ability for Redeemer to maybe jump into his Echo drone, I think he still had one up at that point. I'm not sure if IQ found both of them.
It was one tier 2 still, I'm pretty sure.
So it would have been a little bit of an effort to get it down and in a position to be able to deny that plant, but you know, it could have been possible if he'd have had enough time. But we're going to go upstairs to dorms now. So we've seen OrgLess win here on attack. We've also seen SSG win here on defense. This is, of course, going to be the last round of the current format of SSG on defense. OrgLess on attack. It will then, of course, switch around. And I think the scoreline kind of reflects on how this game's going. There's not a lot in it between these teams at the minute. We've seen them go neck and neck on Clubhouse, purely based, like we've said, on the way that the bans went and the fact that it kind of fell a little bit more attacker favoured this evening. And we're seeing things, you know, pretty level on Oregon as well.
Definitely. And Oregon is a little bit more of a linear map, I would say. So I'd say this counts against Spacestation because they've had a decent amount of prep going into this and they've had a decent amount of adaptability. And we've seen OrgLess do pretty well so far on Border and Consulate, which are both maps that maybe Consulate less though, but they're fairly linear. So I think OrgLess does better on this kind of state where Space Station's advanced preparation isn't going to necessarily benefit them a whole lot.
OrgLess seem very good at taking control of the map at a point and then just pushing up as like quite a, you know, almost like holding sort of like a half-court defense and like really pushing up as a team. And the times that SSG have won on defense has been, they've been able to kind of get behind that and be a little bit slippery and cause them a little bit of trouble. So I think you're right in what you say is that OrgLess do seem to favour the lane-orientated maps and the ones that may be a little bit more linear in the way that they play out. But having said that, you know, SSG have done a great job so far of being able to, I mean, look at that for a prime example. Rampy there choosing not to shoot the drone. He's calling out that the drones are going to be going that way, and that's, you know, Bosco can deal with that. But he's only shooting the drones if he absolutely has to, because he really doesn't want to give his location away at this point.
Yeah, but there we go. Yeti will be able to successfully drone him out there in meeting hole. Rampy is still holding down firm, but the last time they defended upstairs, it was not great for them. It did come down to a very close nitro coming out from Bosco. Admittedly, great clutch, but coming down to clutch scenarios does not mean you're coming down to a great defense. We'll see how Space Station do lock out this, and we'll see exactly what they want to do here, but they're running a very similar set as what they did the first time they defended here, and I'm not sure if I like it or not.
Look at Yeti here, he's just been able to crouch walk his way pretty much all the way up Armory stairs into sight, get some shots down onto a guy playing in Kids, but Redeemer is there to get the kill on the crossfire. A couple of guys have gone in through double window thinking they'd be able to pick up a kill of his own as Crazy and my man pick up one each respectively. OrgLess, a slew of kills coming through right now as Brian gets another 3 versus 2, effectively 2 versus 2 as we have got Crazy down, but he has been picked up. Shala is going to get the kill onto Brian though, so it is still going to be a 2 versus 2. The diffuser surely is going to be going down at some point now. There's a stray nitro cell on the floor, which isn't really going to be doing anything to deny the plant. Bosco underneath manages to get the shotgun kill onto the planter. 1 versus 2 now. My man has got it all to do. Is he going to be able to pick up this kill? He gets the book shotgun through the wall, does manage to pick up Chala, and is going to try and plant this diffuser. He's got plenty of time left to do so. 20 seconds on the clock. Bosco underneath, now making his way onto White Stairs. He's got to push at this point because if he doesn't, it's going to allow my man to hold an angle on through Kid's door. Bosco's now got a really tall order with this SMG-11 to try and get anything going here. I'm not sure if he's got any intel as to where my man is there. The shots are going to come through. That's going to let him know. Going to draw for the shotgun. Is he going to be able to connect with these shots? Trying to get a bit of a quick peek going on, but my man is going to pick up the round. What a great clutch.
Really good from my man, and he played that very smart, but also Bosco is playing it smart as well. I kind of feel like Bosco could have gone below and potentially killed him while he was planting, but that's a very tall order. It's a very big risk when you're just relying on the shotgun. And yeah, like it just came down to that one gunfight, and he loses it. Really well played by my man overall, but that was an insanely close round, again coming out on that top floor defense. But we're going to switch it around now, and Space Station are going to move through onto the attack, and we'll see what they do as we see a laundry defense coming out, and I'm really hoping that Yeti's picking the dock for the bulletproof cam.
We shall have to see. Bosco, I can't believe how close he was to another near clutch on the same objective. I think with like serious hindsight, looking back after the heat of the moment, if he'd watched the diffuser through the shotgun hold that he just killed the Capitao off, that would have probably been the better play at that point because it would have really forced my man to plant, but there was just so much time left on the clock that there was just too many variables at that stage, and he just left him, well, he didn't leave himself, he was just found in quite a difficult position, but my man did a great job of clutching out that round. So we're all even now going into the first round of attack for SSG, and of course the first round of defense for OrgLess. I wonder if we have seen the old bulletproof cam that you're so keen to find.
Yeah, he did. He put it down in like a default spot, you know where the baskets are in laundry, like just on the west side. Yeah, thank you, Sierra, for doing that. Our wonderful observer, as always, moving through and just giving a bit of intel and a bit of more setup to what's going on here. But we're going to move through into round number 7. This could be the first attack round coming out from Space Station. Let's see exactly how they take it. It's 3-3 all tied up at the moment, and this is kind of the scoreline I was expecting on Oregon. I believe stats-wise it's still the most balanced map.
Reloading!
Well, I mean, this certainly attests to that. It's we've seen 3 rounds each. We've actually got a player down at the minute. My man's down, and Bosco's going to aggressively peek up and trying to convert one of these kills. Does manage to get some good shots in, but doesn't really want to lose his life at this stage. Yokai drone comes out. Rampy picks up that kill onto my man. So I think Rampy lost a lot of hit points early on, and I think that was maybe a little bit of an engagement he found himself in with the Valkyrie there. But ultimately, it looks as though SSG have managed to get control of Kitchen and the west side, which is, you know, quite a typical take for Oregon to kind of push through from west side, clear out Kitchen, and then move on to Meeting and hatch area. So they've done a good job of that because they've done that very relatively quickly, you know, in around less than a minute. But we've got Yeti there, going to be playing a really nice angle from tower stairs. Got full visibility all the way through Meeting, with both sides of Meeting double door open. So he's even got visibility in through classroom and the top of main stairs for laundry.
Definitely. Yeti's still on this push as well. Trying to go for the pre-fire, still trying to get the picks, but it's not going down just yet. Space Station seem to be pretty much concentrating on their laundry take here, which I definitely can't blame them for. But Acid still has an Echo drone up in Meeting hold to give Yeti the info to push off of this. But I can't help but feel that this is a misplaced coming out from Acid. Yeah, there we go. He's going to drop it, so that's good. He's going to try and push it into position here to deny the plant going down. But this plant really ought to be going down sooner rather than later. No IQ coming out from Space Station. I don't really know where these Echo drones are.
It's going to be on the job of Bosco, really, to get the Thatchers deployed and to try his best to destroy any of these Yokai drones. I'm not sure if he glimpsed one with one of the... oh, Brian, they're going to get a really nice kill onto Thinking Nade as he just goes prone right at the hatch and then loses his head, gets absolutely domed. You can see the Capital with the crossbow in hand, waiting to provide that cover as he switches through, just getting his smokes out, just to allow Chala the opportunity to push on inside. Toxic Bay comes through, but it's too long and in the wrong spot, as Chala has gone for a plant on the washing machine area. Another Toxic Bay come out, so they've baited out a lot of utility at this stage, and the Firebolts now come out as well. This is all looking pretty good, but no, Chala is going to fall, and is going to lose the diffuser and be down, but Redeemer is there to take his place. Yeti picks up the kill onto Rampy, and Yeti picks up another one onto Chala. Crazy with one of his own. Kills are coming in thick and fast. Yeti's going to get the last one, and ultimately SSG ran out of time there on that push, and OrgLess just had so much utility to deny that plan.
I think also there's kind of a little bit misplaced utility coming out from Space Station there. Like, they put the Firebolts down, but they're not putting them down in the places where this is actually being contested from. So they put it in the hallway, and they put one down on the front of... I can't tell if he missed it or not, and he meant to put it in the supply closet, but he put it in front of the supply closet, and I can't help but feel that that was a little bit of a mistake coming out from Space Station. Regardless, they will lose the first attack round here, but don't matter. It doesn't matter, because OrgLess did the exact same thing.
Yeah, there becomes a point where you kind of expect that laundry's going to be a tough job without a mirror. So it's not around that I think that OrgLess are going to be... sorry, it's not around that SSG are really going to be beating themselves up over at this point, because Dawn does tend to be a little bit more favoured toward attackers.
Yeah, and we definitely did see quite a lot of evidence of that coming through. We'll see how OrgLess do take it through, as we do see, I'd say, a fairly default lineup coming out from them, but my main concern here is, and I don't think my man is running it, is the lack of a bulletproof cam coming down, and the IQ being chosen here from Space Station.
10 seconds left.
And we saw a fairly similar lineup coming out from OrgLess when they attacked it.
Yeah, I mean, the IQ is almost a bit of a staple for this bomb site, purely because you're expecting the Valkyrie, you're expecting, you know, even lesions to a point. They can cause devastation late on toward the round, and if the IQ can at least spot them and call them out, that can always be very valuable as well. I know that, you know, they can be easy to find with, you know, good drone work, but you know, doesn't harm to bring the IQ for that reason. Rampy, they're pretty certain that someone's going to be playing over in tower, and it is going to be Yeti. Yeti just trying to harass and waste a little bit of time here. But it does appear as though we've already got somebody on the rappel of tier 3, and Yeti is going to start to get pushed pretty soon. The drones are going to come out through onto tier 3, and no doubt going to know where he is because he's shooting through the floor. Yeti now, you know, probably be well placed to rotate off that, and he's going to go all the way through laundry, maybe up armory stairs, and just get away with his life. He's wasting nearly a minute there, which is a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah, quite a lot of time indeed to start to waste on this push, but there's still plenty of utility up for Spacestation to start to do some work. Yeah, Rampy's pointing out, you just pointed out that he's going to get peeked from somewhere, and yeah, he just starts getting peeked out from Kids Dom's windows. Rampy has already lost quite a lot of HP. This isn't looking good for Spacestation because there's so many places he can get peeked from. They don't really seem to have too much intel where the peeks could actually come from though.
Drone's ready.
No, there's a lot of drone work going on, and I think they're conscious of any IQ play. Bosco's actually made his way inside tower, so any IQ cameras that are out there are going to be pretty difficult for him to find at this point. But loads of drone work coming out from SSG, and it almost seems like they're a little bit undivided in where this push is actually going to manifest itself at this point.
Yeah, a little bit indeed. We'll see how it just go through. It's just about a minute left on the clock. And there we go. Smokes are going to start to come out here from Brian to try and deny the push coming through Kids Dom's windows. We'll see how that is going to work out for them. Space Station are moving up fairly effectively so far, and they are going to start to open up the main window as well as going for the wall bang, and they're convinced that someone is playing Kids, but there we go. Beautiful shot coming out from Rampy. Go. It's going to be pretty good for them to try and jump in here and go for the push. Bosco's Claymore finds a unsuitable crazy, just going through for a flank. He's going to go down, and now it's a 3v5. Not looking too good for OrgLess at all here as the push starts to come through, but my man's going to pick up 1 for 3, and oh my god, Yeti on the roam is going to pick up 1, but the fuse is going to go down. It's now a 3v2. Not looking too good for OrgLess to try and go for a retake. They'll try and do it anyway. Yeti just going through onto the small doms and sees what he can do here. Tries to find a gunfight, does move all the way through into Kids Doms. He pulls out the pistol, he does take him down, but it's going to be Man who picks up that from below. It's now a 2v2. Yeti's just trying to push out here and see what he can do, but Rampy takes him down. It's now all down to Man to try and clutch this in. It's a 1v2. It's all down to him. He's got to find 2. Just get lit. They know where he is. He pushes through. He tries to find the gun skill. He tries to find the kill, but he can't find anything. He's getting pushed out, but he does get the kill. Oh my god, there goes Rampy, but instantly traded out by the hero Bosco. Space Station take round about 8 and tie things up 4 apiece.
Bosco there not wanting to relinquish his title as clutch master of dorms, and making short work of it and picking it up in the end against my man there. But my man did a great job of playing downstairs, picking up some kills on the way back to the objective, and it got a lot closer than it looked like it should at one point, because with the plant down in that situation and peeking from the top of white stairs, it can be very difficult to even get in the bomb site. So a very good job there, but it's going to leave us all square at 4-all, and OrgLess are going to opt to go back up to Kids Dorms and try the hand there again, opting not to go over to rear tower.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
And I'd say that's fine without having a mirror on the board. If you're not gonna, I just really hate when teams go big tower and there's no mirror, because I just don't think it's viable at all, and we haven't really seen evidence that it is viable. I think, not in this game anyway.
Well, we've seen it once and it got one on attack, so yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
So we will see how round number 9 is getting underway. As you see, OrgLess are going to attempt a Kids Storm's main hold defense once again. And this is looking like an exact replica of what we saw from the first half as well right now. And in fact, round for round is still the same.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, it is. It's very similar. I mean, you spoke of it earlier that Oregon's one of the most balanced maps, and I really do feel like that's pretty. You really can't argue with it in this scenario that is true. But there's been a couple of occasions where it's been either a good individual play, or there's been something that's kind of shifted the tide, and that's made, you know, one side win or the other. So I guess that both these teams are just needing to work on what we've been talking about all evening, which is this adaptation. And it looks as though SSG are going for it this time, because it looks as though they're going to try and open generator room, which isn't something that we've seen them try to do just yet.
Yeah, that is true. I think this is pretty much one of the default plant spots they're going through, and I would prefer Space Station to push it this way than push another way, mostly considering the fact that there's no pulse on the board. Now, when there's no pulse on the board, you're pretty free to try and plant down Gen. You've got to be aware of the rotate hole on top of white, and this is why there's a book on the board from Thinking Nade. And if anyone's seen Thinking Nade, his book, it's the afro. It's the afro that actually hides his enormous brain to be able to make 200 IQ book plays.
Drone ready.
Well, let's hope that we see some of these 200 IQ players coming on through as Redeemer makes his way in with his drone just to see what the story is on in the site. Struggling to find anyone at this stage, but he knows that they're going to be there somewhere. And as you said, we've got somebody playing at the top of white stairs. It looks as though Redeemer's maybe going to try and use an asphyxiating bolt to deal with that and allow Chala to push in and get the plant down. The plant does start to go down, but not before Chala gets a kill over onto Acid. Brian there just going to be trying to spam some shotgun shots through the smoke. Yeti picking up that kill onto Bosco of the Thatcher. And the plant has gone down. I was just going to say, I'm sure it's going down somewhere. Brian there making a smoke grenade toss, but not quite in the right location. Crazy going to pick up the kill from underneath onto Thinking Nade. Chala is down and is going to get finished off by the Toxic Bay. Rampy is going to be left to try and deal with this alongside Redeemer. Does manage to pick up one kill. Redeemer picks up one of his own as well, but my man is going off. Rampy gets that kill, but then gets traded out immediately by the Claymore. Crazy is the last man standing, and Redeemer is the last attacker who is going to come off victorious. There's not a lot of time left on the defuse. He's going to have to get on it very soon. If he does, he picks up the kill. I'm not sure if he's got time to get over to this diffuser and get it down. He does manage to spot it, but there's not going to be enough time left for Crazy. That's very unfortunate for him. He did a great job of getting that kill, but ultimately Space Station got the bomb down and will manage to hold the post plant for just long enough.
What a shot from Crazy there at the end. And yeah, living up to his namesake, he is crazy. But yeah, it is going to be a victory for Space Station. Great planting coming out from them, great push coming out from them, and now they've started to change things up. So, round number 10 getting underway. You're OrgLess in this situation. What is your thought process there?
I think the thought process at this point is that Laundry's been won three times by defenders. So you're looking pretty good to take this round and take it to 5-5. There's nothing that they've done terribly wrong in the previous rounds that's sort of removed them from being able to have a chance of winning this time. I'm not seeing too much different in the lineup. I genuinely think this one could go to overtime, and I really think it's going to come down to a coin toss as to who gets the attacker or who gets the defending side.
Well, I mean, if it goes to overtime, then 3 attacks have been won and 3 defenses have been won by each side. So I don't think the coin toss would even matter, because it's still perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
But it would, in the sense that if you were the team that got defense, you would chose to go down to Laundry.
That's true.
Defense has been the 100% win rate for defenders. Then it makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a point to bring. So we'll move into round number 10. We'll see another Laundry defense coming out. Space Station have a great opportunity to try and break this balance out and prove that it's not just defenders who can win Laundry. Attackers can win it too. They have everything they need utility-wise to take this. I think though last time they were not only too late in pushing out, but maybe they should have pushed backside, because OrgLess had the right idea with their push. They had great control of meeting wall. They could push down the backside, and they had the utility to be able to do it. But when the execute actually came down from OrgLess on that first round, it was all over the place. And they just didn't seem to have enough intel on the actual site itself to effectively do that push. And I think they just kind of went, you know what, let's just push anyway, and let's just try and trade off each other. But it just kind of just went all pear-shaped for them. But it does look like Space Station, again, are going to go for this front side push into Laundry, which I don't disagree with. And without a mirror, it can be decent. But we saw last time, it was kind of ineffective planting coming out from them and ineffective utility usage.
They didn't start basing the utility out early enough, I don't think, or well, either that or OrgLess did a great job of keeping it in the back pocket and only using it when they absolutely had to. I'm sure did we have an echo last time that OrgLess defended?
Yeah,
so that's quite a that's quite a big difference there, and I think the echo will have definitely played a big part in helping to deny that plan. But Yeti's still playing on this tower stairs half landing with good visibility all the way through meeting. as he's just getting a little bit more aggressive, gets droned out by Rampy there, and still trying to hold this angle and push this point. There's no real problem with that, but Rampy is very much aware, and I'm sure there's going to be a bit of a head-to-head here at some point. But there's some holes open in the floor. Rampy's drone's going to get taken out as well, so Rampy's really stuck between a rock and a hard place and trying to root Yeti out of here, and a run out comes out from Acid, but Rampy does manage to get that kill. He loses over half of his hit points for his trouble, but he is still there to assist his team, and now he's just going to be able to wait and see if Yeti is going to push. They've got a pretty good pinch on him now, and I'm not sure if they're fully aware of that, but Chala and Rampy between them can pretty much remove Yeti from the game, but Bosco's going to do that anyway by finding his head, but my man is going to trade it straight back out onto Bosco. My man, they're going to sit with the shotgun on the rear tower stairs, and the time is running out for the attackers, but it is looking pretty good for them. They've got a lot of utility left on the board, and they've still got Capitao with some smokes.
Yeah, definitely. And just 35 seconds left to go on the clock. Space Station in a great position now, but they're going to have to start moving fast. Bryant now stuck in supply closet. Will be able to try and put down. Oh no, he missed it. He's going to try and put that down very, very quickly now to try and deny his plant going down. That's a better angle to take it down. It looks like, yeah, Redeemer is going to start to take damage. He does go down. No, he doesn't. Oh my god, is he going to stick the plant? No, he came out of it. But there we go, Bryant does go down. It's all down to Baman in a 1v4 clutch situation. 10 seconds left to go. All he has to do is deny the plant, but no, he can't get it out. Rampy go as he just jumps down, takes down Baman and saves the round. Beautiful from Rampy. Completely saved that round for Space Station.
And they've broken the mold.
They've broken the curse.
They've broken the curse. I'm not sure if it's a curse. Curse sounds a little bit too bad.
It's broken the magical seal. That's not a curse.
It's broken the pattern. Which is good, because it means that it's winnable on attack, which is very important, because OrgLess are going to go there again.
Well, I mean, it was still good from them. They had the right idea. I still think, though, that again from OrgLess, they haven't really bought much kind of like different operators. They brought the Legion instead that time instead of the Echo, which, if anything, kind of went against them.
Yeah, the Echo was very important, and they've obviously recognised that because they're going to bring it again this round.
I'm not sure how to feel about the pulse here. I guess I get it, because the Vault Cams haven't been really that effective, and if you're not getting utility out of Vault Cams because they're getting destroyed by IQ, and you're probably not going to get much utility out of the Echo if the IQ is still on the board by the time the XQ starts to come through, then Pulse is the next best thing, right? He can stay in the back of supply closet, he can get a decent amount of intel where the push is going to come down. He's not going to get perfect intel, but it's enough.
I think the main advantage of the Pulse is that the only well, it's not even a risk, but the only thing that's going to happen is he's going to get found out as to where he is. But with Laundry being a fairly safe haven for a Pulse in that none of it's destructible, he's not actually going to get shot by the IQ. So it doesn't really matter that the IQ knows where he is. He could get Thatchered, and that'll take his scanner out of the equation a little bit. But it's definitely a worthwhile pick from coming out there from OrgLess. But you know, you never know. I think you've got to ask yourself, has the Jaeger been doing good for him? Has the Legion been doing good for him? It's all so difficult to tell, but all I know is that my man has been going off at the minute, so if he's willing to switch up onto another operator and flex things around on match point, you know, he's obviously got a good idea of what he's going to be doing with it.
Yeah, he should have a good idea. Indeed, just going to see Bosco just trying to hunt down where he can and open up the big tower. I love this angle as well from Bosco. Not only the fact that he's opening stuff up with the LA5, he's also got the rest of his team pushing big tower, and he's going off the rotate there. And they're just trying to force members of OrgLess out of here, because Yeti's played here pretty much uncontested the whole other rounds, but there we go. Rampy picks him up, Space Station have already cleared big tower, and a pretty prominent member of OrgLess who's been sitting there almost uncontested every single round.
Yeah, Yeti seems to find an angle that he likes to play with the dock and just kind of rock with that. We've seen it happen on border, and we've seen it happen multiple times, especially on this defense on Oregon as well. But my man, they're going to rotate back down into site. He understands that at this point SSG have taken pretty good control over big tower. In fact, full control, and pretty much full control over meeting as well. So he's going to rotate back down. He's still got a C4. There's a lot of viability there for him to start denying the plant when that should come down. Halfway into the round now, and I think SSG, it's fair to say, have made pretty good progress this round thus far.
They definitely have, and I think that picking Yeti that early is definitely very important to getting control, because now they can go for a backside push, and you can see Redeemer's just doing that exactly. And I love this push coming out, because I'm going to bet that both the Echo drones are preparing for a laundry side push. And we can't quite see them at the moment, but there we go. There's one Echo drone, and I said has quickly realized there's a backside push coming down, so he's going to have to move that into position. Hopefully get picked up. No, the other one is actually in the backside, so this is good positioning for Master's Echo drones here. Hopefully you should be able to get in position and deny this push coming down. But SSG on this persistent droning, we made this point during the Rise game, and this is something that Spacestation should be doing so well. They're not allowing themselves to get flying. Persistent drone coming out from them, but 40 seconds left to go on the clock. They need to start going for that execute, and they need to take these Echo drones. They do still have 9 Q on the board, so it should be good. And yeah, Rampy is going to be droning them all out. The Nitro comes out, but Rampy just goes flying. Beautiful Nitro coming out there from a man. And 25 seconds left to go on the clock. And the Echo drone's going to move into position. Nade tries to move all the way in and go for the plant, but the Echo drone's right there. He's going to deny it, but then one of the Echo drones goes down. I don't know if they can see the plant going down there. They can. There we go. Thinking Nade goes down for it. And then we'll see Roscoe just moving in, just get the kill. Chala picks up the diffuser, tries to go for it, but it's a 2v3. He has to get the kills. My man moves in. He takes down Bosco, but Chala gets one of his own. And the Baron comes out. It's 1v2. It's all down to Chala. He has to go for the plant right now, but no, he can't. He runs out of times, and OrgLess will take round number 11. 1 round away from bringing us into overtime on our second map.
That was a really good hold there from OrgLess. They did a great job of not peeking anything until they absolutely had to. They had all the utility in place to deploy it at the time that they needed to. The rotation of the Yokai drone was really key in making sure that that plant wasn't able to go down. But I can't help but think that there was maybe some utility left on the side of SSG to try and assist that plant in going down. You know, I'm not sure how many I'm not sure how many EMP grenades Bosco had left at that point. But if he throws one in with the planter's almost guaranteed to be able to get that bomb down because the smoke just wasn't quite right.
That is true, and I will agree that the Echo was pretty much the saving grace of that. But I think what actually won them the round is, yeah, okay, the Echo, and it comes through and it all starts to just deny the plant. But that's only been allowed to happen because Rampy died to an incredible Nitro coming out from our man. If that had not happened, Spacestation probably would have taken the round.
Yeah, it was the best operator at that point for OrgLess to take out in the IQ, because IQ would have more than likely been able to at least see the Echo drone and call the plant off at that stage. I want to say as well
that the Echo drones were being played very aggressively coming out from Acid, but he only ever started doing that once the IQ got picked. And now he knows his Echo drones can't get picked and might as well just play them aggressively. So yeah, like, good adaptation coming out from OrgLess, but I kind of hope and feel that they changed their setup for basically no reason last time. Because they didn't bring the Echo last time. They defended that, sorry.
Moving on into the round, and we're going to see Kids Dorms come up again. We've seen this we've seen this site defended successfully only one time. So I know we've been, you know, the stats haven't really always rang so true this evening, but they're always a good indication of how it's going to go. So we've only seen it successfully defended one time. We've seen it successfully attacked, I believe it's 4. So it's looking pretty good at this point for SSG to close this one out. They're almost certainly going to want to do it and avoid going to a third map. And I'm sure that they're going to give it their all here. Yeti proving himself a bit of a nuisance on T3 of Tower. Wasting a little bit of the Capital utility as well in the asphyxiating bolts. And drone work going to come through. He's going to lose his ADS to that EMP, but he's still wasting a hell of a lot of time. Wasted over a minute now trying to root out Yeti, and he's showing no signs of wanting to go anywhere anytime soon. It looks as though we're going to have a bit of an upside down repel and another Capital Firebolt coming out, but Yeti still unfazed and unhurt. He's convinced that someone's going to peek that window, but Acid is actually going to run out of the bottom of Tower and get that kill onto Redeemer himself. Or, oh no, it was actually from Kid's windows.
Yeah, really good peek coming out. Great teamwork coming out there from OrgLess to get that pick. That's a very important pick because that's Capital done already. They should be able to hold on to tier 3 doing that, and Spacestation gonna have to try and shift their attack somewhere else. Yes, he's still holding on to tier 3, however. Spacestation are gonna try and rotate into Gen, it seems like. I mean, last time they did this, it was actually a very successful push from them. But this time they don't have the Capital to help out.
Capital was crucial to their push last time. the smoking off of the top of White Stairs and kids have just enabled Chala to run in, get a kill and get the plant down. Without that, they're going to have to do some good work with the book on thinking nade to try and root out anybody that's playing at the top of White Stairs, and they've not left themselves all too much time to be able to do that moving into the final 45 seconds of the round. Rampy there going to be making his presence known at the bottom of White Stairs, just maybe trying to detract a little bit from what's going on in Generator Room, with Chala maybe trying to perhaps get the plant down, but I'm not sure that he's going to have had the sufficient cover to get himself in. He's not. The smoke grenades are going to be coming out, and that's going to be what's eating away a little bit of his health. Brian there with another really well-timed smoke grenade, but Chala's actually going to use that to run in, but Brian predicts it. Rampy does get the kill, but it is a second or two too late. Yeti's going to get that kill as well onto Ryan, and all of a sudden loads of kills are going to come out back to back to back. Bosco is now going to actually be getting the bomb down, but he's going to switch it out and fake it. My man's going to get the kill. My man's been going off tonight. He's been doing a great job. It was a crazy final few seconds there, and I really did think that it was going to go the way of SSG at a point, but Rampy was just a second too late on that kill on Brian on White Stairs. Just an absolute nanosecond.
Just a second too late, but also kind of just poor roam clearing coming out from Space Station there, which, you know, is not something I thought I would say in this matchup, because they've been pretty consistent otherwise, is that there's still a pulse on the board from below. And obviously they know that, and which is why he was trying to bait out the pulse from Nitroing, but that, I don't really think it should be an issue at that point. They should be able to take control of the site without having to worry about the pulse from below, or take the site from below itself. They have a book available. I just don't think they're using the utility maybe in the correct way, or maybe they're trying to go for a push that relies on certain things to happen, and then they don't happen, and Chala dies, and all of a sudden you lose a lot of momentum with it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you say, losing the momentum of your planting, losing the bomb in the middle of Gen Room after running in, and I think he took a great initiative there to try and use the smoke as a little bit of cover, and I think he was relying on Rampy playing at the bottom of White and distracting Brian at that point, so Brian would throw the smoke, turn around to deal with the guy on the bottom of White, be able to run in and get the plant off, but Brian just debated him and really didn't take his eye off the planter, which was, you know, really don't take your eye off the ball in that scenario, because otherwise it's going to hit you in the face, and he really didn't take his eye off the ball. He didn't take his eye off the bomb. He knew whose hands it would be in, and that was Chala, and it led them to be, you know, it led them to winning the round, which was very crucial at that point. So we're going to go down and see Laundry Room yet again, and I think this has become the typical setup now for OrgLess, because it's the one that has worked previously for them with the yokai drones, and I think this is finally some of their adaptation coming through, and it's showing what they're able to do when are being faced with problems, and how they're actually going to be able to overcome them.
Yeah, and you know, adaptation has definitely been Space Station's strong suit throughout the series, and we've already seen good, you know, stuff from that. But I kind of feel that OrgLess, they already have strats they want to do. They don't really want us to change them up, but also they're not really having to, because they've already been working fairly well into their favor, and it's just been looking so close throughout this entire series. And I can't help but feel that OrgLess, they just don't even need to adapt to this. They can rely on their gun skill quite well as well. And yeah, there we go. Yeti's just going to be holding down onto flag here. Oh my god. I thought he was just about to get naded out of that position there, as well as my man going to be playing around here. Interesting that a bandit is going to be playing meeting.
I think they're just trying to keep hold of Meeting a little bit and play Yeti in a different spot, but Rampy's going to find Yeti. Then Crazy, he's going to find Rampy straight away. So losing the IQ pretty early on, that's going to deny a lot of information as to where the yokai drones are when the plant does start to go down. That is something that we did see become, you know, that was kind of the start of the undoing of SSG last time that they attacked this bomb site. They really struggled to locate those yokai drones, and ultimately the yokai was able to deny the plant. So it looks as though they've managed to push everybody out of Meeting, and, you know, rooting Yeti out of Meeting. I think at that point it's a fair assumption to say that OrgLess have done a good job of that, and they can then drop back onto site. But it does look as though we've got my man who's he's on an absolute train. He's on a steamroller, and he's trying to put some shots through. But the plant is actually going to start to go down. Toxic Bays come out, and I think that does just disrupt the plant ever so slightly. Chala's desperate to drop there, but he knows it's not the right thing to do. They were so close to getting that plant down without anybody realizing it, but Brian was just there ready and waiting, watching it. That's all 3 of the Toxic Bays now have been deployed. Oh, sorry, he has got 1 left in his pocket. He has only deployed 2, but with 35 seconds on the clock. He's going to want to deploy his next one pretty soon as the plant does start to go down pretty much in plain sight. And I think that's a pretty good debate because it's not quite a default plant spot. Brian there just putting shots down into thin air. Bosco picking up that kill onto my man. And the smoke grenade, the final smoke grenade is going to come out. Yokai drone still in play, ready to help deny this plant. Brian's going to pick up that kill onto Redeemer. And there's not going to be an awful lot that thinking they can do in that situation. He's no doubt going to get denied, but no, the Yokai drone is being destroyed. Brian's picking up the kill on Chala. Bosco's going to get the kill onto Acid. Another 2 kills are going to come out thick and fast. 1 versus 1. Thinking that he's not going to plant the diffuser. He doesn't have enough time. That was so much closer than it needed to be. I thought OrgLess were going to walk away with that one, and all of a sudden it's a 1 versus 1.
Insanely close. I mean, Spacestation did really well because, I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, yeah, there's still the Echo drone up, there's still so much utility up. Even though all 3 smokes have already been used, OrgLess is still in a really strong position. And then all of a sudden, they lose the Echo drone, and you know the call just went out. I've lost the Echo drone, we need to push. So they push all the way up, they play for refrags. OrgLess play it really smart, and they end up in a 2v1. Thinking they brings it into a 1v1, but at that point he's either got to plant or push. I think he chose right based on what he knew was going on at that point. But obviously he just ended up unlucky and unfortunate for him indeed. But it is going to be now overtime match point as we move into round number 14 on map number 2. This has been an insanely close series throughout. And Spacestation all of a sudden on the losing foot.
Yeah, it's not somewhere that they used to be in this evening. You can see there, Rampy, just how much this means to him. 17 kills and 10 deaths. My man there, not too far behind him on 14-9. Yeah, I mean, you can just see how much it means to both these sides. Both these teams are not leaving anything on the line. They're bringing everything they've got tonight, and they're throwing it at their opponents. They're going to see what sticks. And it just shows how good, you know, how high the level of competition has been this far, and how much these teams both want it. Because don't forget, it's not all over after this. They've then got to go to Invitationals, and they've got to, you know, do pretty good work there as well. So this is almost only the beginning. So it's only fitting that it's a real, you know, a real battle, if you will.
A real battle of titans coming through here. Indeed, we'll see exactly how it's going to work out. The overtime match point, OrgLess only having to win this one attack to bring it in. But it's going to be a laundry defense coming out here from Spacestation. And you made the point that this should then shift it into the favor of whoever gets attack first. Sorry, whoever gets defense first, because they get the laundry. But now you're in this situation where they just won laundry. OrgLess haven't successfully attacked laundry yet, and I'm not saying that they can't. That's a
yikes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for us. And I'm not saying that they can't, but it's seeming unlikely that they will be able to pull it off, because Spacestation couldn't pull it off either when there was an Echo on the board. So it seems like a bit of a weird situation. So with Spacestation take this round on the defense, they move back onto the attack, and it's probably going to be a kids defense, and those have been some very, very close rounds coming through from both sides. So there's still a lot of viability, and we'll see exactly how that is going to work out. We're about halfway into the round now.
Yeah, like you say, it's going to be tricky to see how SSG are able to defend this, purely because this really is a big round for them, because they're not going to want to take it to another map. So that can, you know, play in different ways. It can make players play really well, or it can make players, you know, maybe make some small mistakes. You see there, Bosco just getting droned out. He's going to no doubt rotate himself back down onto Laundry Stairs when he feels like it is safe to do so. But like you say, there's quite a lot of time gone out of the game, but there's a lot of control still held on main stairs. My man's going to get the kill onto the smoke. That's huge at this point. There's a lot of deniability removed. The smoke grenades are going to come in from OrgLess, and the push is so. My man's going to pick up another Yeti, getting one of his own. Bosco going to pick up one with the shotgun, all down to Bosco and Rampy. The C4 comes out, but it doesn't connect. Rampy picks the kill, and he picks up a second onto Brian. I think he almost nearly shot Bosco then in his excitement. 2 versus 2. The diffuser is in the hands of my man. Bosco is very well placed with the shotgun. The nade comes out. He manages to run out of the way, but the plant is going down. Rampy and Bosco are going to have to push this right now. Bosco's well positioned with the shotgun, but doesn't want to expose himself too much. Acid is going to pick up the kill. It's all down to Rampy in this situation. It's 1 versus 2. The diffuser is down. My man, who has been on a storm, is holding a very tight angle. The pre-fire comes out from Rampy. He puts some good shots in, but it is not quite enough. He's in a horrible crossfire here, and if he gets one, he's not going to get the other. My man gets the kill onto Rampy, and OrgLess are going to take Oregon.
So we are going to indeed go to our decider. This is going to be a very intense series so far. OrgLess do take Oregon in a very hard-fought victory coming out from them. They take the map 8-6. What an insane series so far, and what a match befitting. As you said, it's standard.
It's just befitting of, you know, the stage that we're on. You can see there, Rampy 19 kills, but ultimately wasn't quite enough as the kills over on the OrgLess side are as equally as impressive. But that is going to lead us in 1 map apiece, and we are going to be throwing it down now onto our decider, which is of course going to be Coastline. So a bit of an attacker favoured map. I mean, we've seen maps tonight that we've said this is balanced, this is not, this is attacker favoured, this is... I think it's fair to say that Coastline's fairly well attacker favoured, but with these two teams, you just don't know at this stage.
We saw a book ban earlier. I would really like to see a book ban on Coastline.
Yeah, I think a book ban could work. There's a lot of potential for a book. You know, there's the whole of Penthouse and VIP can be, you know, disrupted and opened up as long as main lobby control has been gained. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of good work that a book can do. I mean,
the other thing about this decider map as well is that OrgLess haven't won on Coastline yet during the qualifiers. Guys. So, and you know, SSG have. Yeah, they've won once on Coastline. So, I gotta say this is looking pretty good for SSG, but we just said that, and it did not go well.
The thing is, it's looking good for SSG, but then they've not really been able to specifically prep anything from what's been going on recently in these qualifiers that OrgLess have done. Still be odds that they can go and look back historically, but ultimately, if it's not too current, maybe it's not too important, and things that maybe have happened historically have maybe evolved and changed. So I guess we've seen SSG not do very well against a team that they weren't really able to prepare for. Now, I'm not saying they're not able to prepare for OrgLess, but if they're not able to prepare for Coastline specifically, is that going to play into it? Or is the fact that this is really now it and this is for everything, is that going to outweigh? And is that going to come out, whereas Space Station are just the team that want it more at this stage?
Yeah, so decide on mapping a best of 3 series. This is turning into a pretty long night as well for OrgLess, because they just played the best of 3. They're now in another best of 3, and they're on decider map in that best of 3. But that just shows you, I mean, maybe some of the people at this point would have been like, as they got into the deciding rounds of Oregon, it's kind of over. And you can just say that OrgLess didn't have that mentality at all. They want to win, and they're here to do it. They've come way too far to drop out now, and they will persist, and they will take us to that decider map. So, looking pretty even across the board. And the other reason why I would like to see a book ban here is because of Thinking Nade.
Yeah, Thinking Nade's proved himself a menace on book, especially on Oregon. So I think it is something that we could look to see. But failing that, I feel like we're going to see the standard Glass ban again, because, you know, Glass is just very powerful on any map. He's got a lot of utility that he can bring to the table. In terms of defender operators, I'm not too sure. I think Mirror plays a big part, especially on a blue bar hold.
I think Mirror will just get banned out because she's way too viable on Coastline. But you know, again, I would kind of like to see some weird bans. I mean, this is the opportunity, right? This is the decider map. There is no reason to hold anything off. When people talk about teams holding, you know, withholding strats, this is the opportunity they hold them for. They hold it for this decider map where they have to bring everything out, and this is where all that prep work, all those dry runs, all those scrims, everything, it all comes to fruition here.
Well, like you say, there's no point having it in the locker if you're not going to make your way to invitationals. You can always develop new strats, you can always refine things that you've done. So, like you say, this is the time for them to bring absolutely everything that they've got and really see what sticks. These teams are so well matched at this point from what we've seen that for me, either one deserves it. I don't think there's one team that deserves it more than the other. I don't think there's one team that's been particularly lucky. I don't think there's one team that's done things much better than the other team. I think they both just very well deserved of the spot at this point. And it is, like we've said, it is only fitting that we do go to a third map.
Yeah, definitely. This is a titan of a match coming through. Space Station versus OrgLess. It's been a close series so far, but don't forget, there's only one spot in North America. One of these teams must make it. There are no draws here. There are only victories and defeaters. The victor will go through to Invitational. The loser will stay at home.
Unfortunately so, and I think it's such a long road to go down to kind of not give it your all at this point. I think
a double elimination bracket. Don't forget, this is doubly so for Space Station, because they went to DreamHack Winter. They came very, very, very close. They were within 2 rounds of securing their place invitation. They lost out to Penta, fair and square. And don't forget as well that DreamHack Winter is a pretty heavy journey for a North American team to go, because the actual event where it was not near an airport, and you know, you're already flying you guys all the way out there. They're going to do loads of traveling, they're going to do loads of prep work, and to do as well as they did after all of that was no understatement. So Space Station, this should be a particularly emotional match coming out from them. But OrgLess, you know, they put up a fight. They've been doing very, very well for themselves. I think that a lot of teams would, a lot of people would go into this and look at this matchup and go, Space Station win, no doubt about it. But this is looking like a bit weird, and I'm sure Intero's shaking in his seat right now, and I'm hoping he's got his milk ready.
At the prospect of drinking 2 liters of milk, it's
horrible, and I hope we get to see it.
Well, it's all on OrgLess. OrgLess have got to deliver if that's what we want to see, and we're gonna have to see them take Coastline. But I'm not sure how this one's gonna go. Like you say, there's got to be a point where fatigue plays into it just a little bit. OrgLess will have no doubt prepped for this, because they didn't go against Rise thinking that they were going to lose, so they anticipated that they were going to come up against SSG. With it being a best of 3, you've got to prepare for all 3 maps. So there's no doubt that they were ready for this, but you've just got to think, at what point do they go, this is really tiring, the mistakes start to come through, and that those 2 maps advantage, if you will, that Space Station have got on them at this stage that they've not played, that may come into play as well.
Yeah, fatigue is always definitely a factor in a best of 3 series. But we're going to go through Space Station, ban out the Glass, OrgLess, ban out the Ash. Interesting. That may be a target ban against Rampy.
Rampy's been doing some great work with the Ash, like you've commented on in Clubhouse. You know, good rank player, good Ash player. It seems to go hand in hand.
Definitely, definitely. So we are going to get through into the last couple of bans here. Space Station are going to be out. The final defender here, probably going to be Mira. No, it's a Valkyrie. So Mira's actually on the board for this one. This is definitely very interesting. You very rarely see a Coastline that actually has a Mira up and ready. I'm actually going to be the ban out coming here, so it's going to be Echo up as well. This is definitely going to be very interesting going into round number 1. OrgLess start on the attack. Some would argue that OrgLess have the advantage here because they are starting out on the attack. I would say that goes 2 ways, because yes, Coastline traditionally, maybe not so much recently, but traditionally is an attacker-sided map. And on the other flip side of that as well, sometimes as well, when you're taking the side first, you want to go into a winning side on your second half. You don't want to start out on a winning side, because then you go into the losing side, right? Maybe that's more prevalent on maps like Clubhouse.
Need to locate and defuse as many bombs
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. I think that I guess the SSG having the last ban and choosing not to ban the Mirror really speaks to what they're going to try and do here, and they're really going to try and chain these defensive rounds together. They've got no reason why they can't, because the Mirror play on Coastline is so huge that it makes a lot of sense for them to be able to, you know, get some rounds together and then just kind of deal with that on their attacking rounds when it flips over to OrgLess and they're able to bring the Mirror as well. So we might see a little bit of Twitch play coming out with that being available if that's like a targeted thing that, or a very well considered thing, should I say, that SSG are doing.
Yeah, and also don't forget, just as a quick reminder, stats-wise, Space Station Gaming have won Coastline once during this qualifier, and OrgLess have yet to win it. So, very interesting coming out from them. We'll see how exactly it's going to go down. As Space Station Gaming start out on the defense here, and OrgLess They're looking to fight back. They're looking to try and take the series through. Let's see how exactly that's going to work out for them as they move through onto the DJ booth and see exactly what setup they can go for here. What do you think of the lineups then?
I think I like it. I think it's good. Something that is nice to see is the Jackal, because although it's not a huge map and it's very sort of circular in its rotation, with it having obviously the big courtyard in the middle, the Jackal can be really handy to get a good track on anyone that's causing themselves a nuisance over in Aquarium or Billiards area. I feel like Yeti opening that long angle toward Theatre, it could do them more harm than good. They're quite fortunate that SSG hasn't actually brought an ACOG there, because sitting on that angle with an ACOG in Theatre looking onto VIP wall can be devastating.
There's also no mirror there. He put both of the mirrors facing from Theatre into Penthouse. So normally, sometimes teams will play that hallway mirror, and you can peek off of it into that kill hole you just made. So if there was a mirror there, it would have been kind of bad and would have acted against you. But I think that opening up that 90 hallway is actually very, very good, and it's a good angle to play for rotate if there's no mirror there. And that's exactly what you're going to be able to do. Thinking Nade already throwing out 2 smokes very early on. Is going to smoke out whoever's in the bathroom now. I believe it is Big Bri himself, as we'll see exactly how that's going to work out for him. But that is already a huge amount of utility off the board for SSG.
He's also eating up a lot of Brian's health there, so I'm not sure if the trade-off's worth it or not. I think it's more likely going to come down to frags and C4s to deny the plant in the final few seconds, and maybe it's better off to use the smoke grenades just as a little bit of crowd control at that point. Bosco's so close to picking up that kill, and my man is going to peek out, which is going to allow Bosco to jump out and get a kill onto Crazy, but not before Rampy gets one of his own. So very quickly the tide has turned, and now it's looking very good for SSG as Acid drops the bathroom hatch and manages to make his way on into the site, but he's not got all too much that he can do with it. He's going to have to go behind the bed, and Pulse is going to be waiting in wait below, thinking they're picking up a kill onto Brian. Acid trading it straight back out, 1 versus 4 now. He's got a heck of a lot of work to do, and he's getting pressured from downstairs. The diffuser is not in his hand, so he's not really looking in a very good position at the minute. He's going to have to go for frags. There's a mirror that there's still a defender playing off, which is really bad for him at this point as he tries to make his way over into Theatre. He does manage to pick up 1 kill, but Rampy on the Pulse is going to make him suffer with a Nitro from below.
I'm amazed this Nitro didn't destroy the shield, because it was right there, and he took whatever. Anyway, we're going to move through into round number 2, and yeah, great stuff coming out from Spacestation. I really think that this was won and lost, because Thinking Nade is throwing out the smokes too early, which means now Spacestation have to get very aggressive. And Bosco just that. I like how my man, he's playing below. He's trying to get his entrance into kitchen service entrance. And he's bobbing and dipping and diving and dodging wherever he can. QEC spam, that's just how it goes as the book main. And Bosco just kills him. He doesn't even care. He's just holding the angle. And that is how you play against QEC spammer. You just shoot where they're going to be, not where they are, and then they go. Bosco did really well for that, picked up 2 kills as well from that, and it all just kind of went pear-shaped after that.
Yeah,
that's a very British term.
Pear-shaped, yeah, I think it is. I don't even know why it is. I think it may be because a pear looks like it's like splitting perhaps at the bottom. I don't know.
For the NA viewers who don't know what pear-shaped means,
yeah,
it's kind of like it's all gone wrong.
It's all gone wrong. It's not going very well. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a British thing. That.
Yeah, not apple-shaped, definitely pear-shaped round coming out from OrgLess there. As we go into round number 2, we're going to see a Billiards defense coming out here from Spacestation. What do you think of the lineup? I'm kind of surprised, but not in a massive way that there's no mirror here.
I think the mirror doesn't provide maybe as much value as the castle does, or maybe even the dock. I'm not sure what you'd switch it out for at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's the thing. It's because of mirrors in such a high ban rate, teams have really become quite creative in dealing with sites without her, and there almost becomes a point where it's just better to play it as you would normally without the mirror than to risk bringing it. And I mean, we've seen already tonight how devastating it can be if you lose control of the mirror, heaven forbid. So it really does sort of can play against you sometimes. But Bosco is going to be aware there from ping that the main castle is getting opened. And that's going to allow a clean line of sight into the objective. But of course it does waste a set of X-Kairos, which would have been very handy to use to open up VIP wall, which is reinforced into corridor, which then looks on into the objective. But I guess that can still be done with at least one set that Brian has got left in his back pocket.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of utility from both sides here to remain through, but that's going to be a massive amount of utility off the board already. Charlotte, all the way from Cool Vibes, is going to pick Yeti off the board so early on. That is a massive pick coming down. Was he on the purple curtain? I'm pretty sure he was.
Oh, stood on the... Yeah, I know what you mean, where you jump up onto the roof,
yeah.
get onto the ledge, yeah. But it'd be an odd place for a smoke to be playing. I mean, he's got his nades that he can use from there, but he's removing a lot of his utility. You know, he's not really got anything that he can hammer out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe would have been better to see him repel up and hammer off the castle on main window and just get a little bit of the utility out that way. But it looks as though Jackal's got a good ping on someone playing over in VIP. I can't help but think at this point, oh, it does look as though, sorry, I didn't realise that OrgLess had actually got control of Aquarium. I was going to say that the control they've got doesn't really seem to be doing them all too much, but they've got full control of Aquarium, and they're just waiting for this push to come in. Thinking Nade with a Toxic Bait in his hand, all three with the final minute, and he's going to go for the corner there. The Nade's going to come through from my man, perfectly timed, taking out Redeemer. That's going to be Legion out of the picture. Thinking Nade there, picking up a kill onto Crazy. Another Toxic Bait into the corner. Rampede kill of his own, 2 versus 4. Brian's going to fall as well to Thinking Nade. All now down to my man. He's got a Legion Mine in his foot. And Charlotte is going to pick up that final kill. Space Station are taking no prisoners with 2 quick rounds back to back on defense.
Very well played by Space Station. Some people might be confused, maybe some not that experienced in watching comp play. And this happens more in North America than other regions, but I would say when Thinking Nade is smoking out, he's putting the smoke in the corner, and people maybe not understanding why he's doing that, but that actually does go through the corner, and it does damage whoever's planting on the bomb. That's completely legal to do in ESL, so no issues there from Space Station doing that. It's become a more and more common strategy to do, and it's definitely very hard to deal with.
It's impossible to deal with.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, because you can still kill the smoke. And you can go below, and we saw it was attempted to go down because there were nades below. So, and you know he has to sit there to do it.
Yeah, if he's in that position and he's able to throw it, there's no, it's a great play on his behalf. Like, you could tell, I knew what he was doing in throwing the smokes into the corner, but I've never really paid all that much attention to how much the smoke affects the other side. I'm guessing it's in the default plan spot straight behind the bomb, and it just hits that perfectly. So it's a great use of the utility, and like you say, very difficult to deal with. All that you're able to do is actually kill the smoke, like you say. Aside from that, you're really stuck. So, but SSG taking absolutely no prisoners so far. They're on a bit of a storm at the minute. 2 rounds back to back on defense. But don't be fooled, this is something that we have seen before this evening. We've seen SSG go on little streaks. We've seen OrgLess go on little streaks of chaining rounds together, but it doesn't really mean anything at this point because we know this is going to be as close a map as all the others have been.
What's going wrong for OrgLess here? Let's get right down into the business. Why is OrgLess 2 rounds down?
I really don't know at this point. I think that they've suffered on the first round. It was, I believe, Rampy playing downstairs who picked up the 2K.
Yep.
Firstly onto Mamani, who was playing Book and then was able to go out and get the kill onto
That was
Repel.
Bosco, who was playing Kitchen Service.
Was it Bosco? Whoever it was that got the 2K downstairs, one in the killing service, and then the run-out kill onto the guy on Repel, that was just so crucial on that round because they lost all the control they'd gained from the repelled guy, being able to keep pressure onto Theatre. That was definitely a key reason as to why they won round 1. Winning round 2, I think the smoke play was great. They gave away a lot of control, but they managed to keep hold of VIP, which kept guys safe. There was a couple of nice picks that came out, but I don't know what OrgLess need to do all too differently at this point.
I think there was a bit of wasted utility coming out from them. You mentioned about how Sledge could probably go around and open up the main window. Habana charges went down on that billiards window and opened it that way instead. Potentially Sledge could have kept it there, but a lot of it just seems to come down to the fact that OrgLess are consistently losing gunfights and losing a lot of control and utility because of it, because they're not trading frags that well.
Yeah, and even though they had the Jackal pings on people, and oh, there we go, Yeti is going to pick up a nice opener there onto Thinking Nade, taking smoke, and he's going to make that a double, taking out Chala as well. Is this going to be a triple? It is! He's going to find the head of Redeemer quickly, 5 versus 2. No need for trades this time. They're going to clean sweep this round. My man's going to take out Rampy. Bosco now is going to be the last man standing. Finds the head of my man, but the plant has gone down in the process. He's left upstairs. He's all too aware that there's going to be a lot of people playing down in Sunrise, but there's not all too much that he can do about it at this point. Look at all his goo mines. They're all over VIP, but it's just not been pushed at all. He's getting shots now from the top of Hooker Deck. He's got a very tall order to be able to get onto this diffuser. There's already half of the timer gone. There's 4 men left on the attacking team. He's in a very, very tricky position here. He's going to peek out onto the Hibana of Bry. He's going to make a full run to try and get that kill. At this point, he's got to just be playing for frags. He's picked up the kill onto Brian, but he knows that there's not a lot of time left. And the attackers are playing very recklessly because of that, because they know as well there's not a lot of time left. He picks up a kill onto Acid, but it won't mean anything at this point. Yeti getting the final one. OrgLess there, showing a little bit more speed, a little bit more aggression, and really taking that round and seeing an opportunity, getting the plant down, and getting the round on the board.
That was 100% Yeti with the 4K, but not only just that, but 3 opening kills pretty much immediately. He just sees the opportunity, he sees where they're all rotating through, and he just holds it really, really well. The thing about refragging as well is if the other team know where you're about to trade from, then you can just be an easy pre-fire, and I think Yeti just really looked into that. He was doing really well. That was a disaster for Space Station, though, losing that many operators that early on.
It was almost just like, don't peek.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
I was when he picked up the third. Before he picked up the third kill, I was like, surely not. Surely we're not going to peek that again, because you just know that he's literally trained onto it at this point. But you know, it's only one round. It does allow SSG to go back upstairs into Penthouse and try the look there. They defended this very successfully last time. Rampy had a Storm playing downstairs on the Pulse, as did Bosco with the run-out kill like we've talked about already. So I wouldn't be worried if I was on the team of SSG, but I really think that OrgLess have seen an opportunity and taken full advantage of it there in that last round.
Definitely. So we're going to move through into round number 4 for Space Station Gaming. We'll see exactly how this is going to go through for them. This is looking pretty good for them so far. Maybe some people are looking at this and going, I know I'm attacking this random person who's being very overcritical, but I can feel it from here, and I can feel the angle. And I'm saying that Coastline, even though traditionally attacker-sided, yes, and now Space Station have found rounds on the defense, that is not the end of the story. You really have to wait until the first half is over to really judge what is actually going on here. But it is good that Space Station are finding rounds here, and I think a lot of it is coming down to this mirror play.
Yeah, I mean, we can see Acid here pretty much predicting that mirror play perfectly and having the Twitch drone ready to deal with any of that, but he's obviously pretty anxious about deploying that into the corridor and risking that being shot. If he's able to open any of these mirrors, that's going to be huge for OrgLess at this point. But the mute jammers are going to be doing their job, and maybe going to even have to wait for a Thatcher to get that open. At that point, it could just be too late into the round, and they may have to start focusing elsewhere on the chance that he may not actually get that mirror window open.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to move in here and just see that there is a mute jammer there, so he's not finding that particular situation too useful for him. I'm hoping he's waiting for the Thatcher to rotate around to try and do that for him, and then he can open his mirrors, but at this point, you have a bug. I'm not sure why my man hasn't rotated below. Maybe it's because of the threat from the hatch, or the threat from Rome is still going on. But there we go. Mirror windows get opened up, so that's actually really good. I'm pretty sure that was from the drone. Yeah, that must have been from the drone, because he just got both of them open, so really well played there.
Charlotte there playing pretty aggressively up onto the Hibana hole now. I think at this point he's just got to peek something, because everybody knows where he is, and if he can get a kill then even better, but he's just going to take some shots into his back there. He's going to be on about 20 health. Rampy playing downstairs, playing very patiently. He's already seen somebody there, but he's missed the guy at double door. My man holding the angle does manage to take out Pulse. This is looking pretty good at this stage for OrgLess. Having said that, Charlotte is going to get a nice kill on the long angle onto Hall of Fame, as that's going to be Jackal that's pushing through. So we're going to lose a little bit of smokes on the team of OrgLess there, which is going to it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for them to push in, but the mirror's now being open. That shield there deployed perfectly. Bosco picking up the kill onto Acid, getting traded straight back out by Brian. Still got a player repelled on the window, and that's going to cause a heck of a lot of problems if the members of OrgLess do manage to get the plant down, because it's going to cause SSG to have to rotate through. Brian is now getting that plant down as he knows that the pulse is no longer a factor. My man picking up a kill onto Chala, thinking they'd getting one back onto my man. All of a sudden this is a 2 versus 1 effectively. I do believe that Redeemer is down. Thinking they'd going for the revive though, he's definitely got the time, and he actually had the cover of the smoke grenades. It's going to be a very difficult retake from here. Brian there managing to find the head of Thinking Nade all down to Redeemer. He does manage to find the down. He's going to reload the SMG-11 and see if he can find the remaining final kill onto, I believe it is Yeti. He's going to be playing all the way over in VIP. He does actually manage to get there. Is he going to be able to make this diffuse stick? I'm not sure if Yeti is going to have the angle there from the Hibana hold to get the kill. I don't think that Yeti's got the angle. He's going to make the diffuse stick. That's going to be a great clutch there from Space Station Gaming. Hitting the diffuse, and Yeti just too far away to do anything about the post plan.
Yeti knows that his teammate's down. I just don't understand why he's taking such a long angle outside of DJ. Maybe he's hoping to catch Redeemer on the cross. Maybe he's hoping that Redeemer will just peek out red or something like that. But what a massive mistake coming out from Yeti, and I'm sure he's going to be beating himself up about that one. But yeah, they had that in the bag, and they just completely threw it away.
It's such a shame, because I feel like OrgLess's execution of that was really good.
Yeah,
they did a
really,
really good job of dealing with every element of SSG's defense. They took the mirror windows out. They were able to get rid of Rampy on the pulse below. They were just picking kills. They had the guy that was securely playing on the window without fear of being run out on, because my man was playing downstairs in main lobby. It was just so well executed that they really deserved that round, and it's just so unfortunate that he didn't catch him on the cross, because I think if he catched, well, I think that was his plan. I think his plan was to catch him on the cross, and then it was like a question of, is he defusing, or is he thinking I'm pushing, and there's a bit of doubt there, and it was just that few seconds of doubt that just really, it just cost him. But, you know, you can't argue with Rampy for jumping on the defuse. Sorry, Redeemer for jumping on the diffuser, can you?
He got there eventually.
Got there eventually.
Definitely. You can't blame him for that at all. Redeemer will take the round. This is looking like an increasingly bad situation for OrgLess. It is not like they're playing badly at all. It's just small moments. I will say, however, that OrgLess have done really well recently to collapse in on space stations. They're like baiting out the refrags and the rotates that are coming through quite well. And it seems like Space Station kind of have big tunnel vision of when they're going for refrags. That they don't really have big information about what's going on in the greater world.
The refrags have been coming in pretty thick and fast. Rampy there going to pick up a nice opener onto Yeti. So Thatcher is no more. That could prove a bit of a problem if any mute jammers need to be removed, and Acid's looking at getting his Twitch drone through, because I think opening the mirror windows last time were pretty crucial as to, you know, how successful the push actually did come out for OrgLess. But yeah, I mean, like you see there was no refrag there from OrgLess onto Rampy from that kill. It was kind of a freebie for him, and he's been able to rotate off that, hold an angle down onto Sunrise, and he's just keeping Shala safe there on Cool Vibe stairs.
Yeah, definitely doing very, very well indeed. I'm wondering if there's if he's playing Cool Vibes, is there an ADS on Cool Vibes? Can we see that for a second at all? But, I mean, yeah, this is good from Massey. He's going to get all the way in here. There is a mirror on the board this time, which may be the saving grace here for SSG. I'm not sure, because these mirrors went down very, very early before, and, I mean, this was all Acid last time. So we'll see how he does do with that. We'll see multiple drones still coming out. My man is also going to rotate below, and it looks like he's going to be able to nade out from below here as well. He doesn't get it. He doesn't manage to see where this is going down, but this was the big problem last time from OrgLess, that my man went below and he killed the wrong man. He should have been trying to kill Thinking Nade, because he completely destroyed this, but this time they're just going to push all the way in, and this push is going to be very good for OrgLess. They push all the way in, and get a lot of control here as the planet starts to go down. Thinking Nate is going to try and smoke it out and see what he can do here. As there we go, Brian's going to do down to Rampy on the flank, and Diffuser is dropped in Aquarium. But there we go, Crazy and my man both going to pick up kills for themselves. It's now a 2v2, all between Bosco and Thinking Nade. But as I say that, Crazy takes off Thinking Nade. And now it's all down to Bosco in a 1v2. Let's see how he does it. He's going to be holding on to there, but there we go. He does take down my man. He has control of the Diffuser, and it's all down to Crazy to try and bring this in. He goes for the pre-fires. He's got to know where Bosco is, but Bosco's got the A code, but he's not going to be looking behind him. There we go. Crazy does pick him up for free. OrgLess take round number 5.
That's really unfortunate there. I think that Bosco thought that he was playing over on Cool Vibe way. He didn't realise that he'd already come in behind. But a good round there nonetheless. Did come down to 1 versus 1, but we are seeing this is very, very close here. 2 rounds to 3 currently in favour of SSG, and they're going to opt to go back up to Hooker Lounge and Billiards Room. It certainly makes a lot of sense to go there. They've only lost there once. They won there the other time they went. It came down to a 1 versus 1. It was pretty close in the final few seconds of that round. So it certainly makes a lot of sense to go back down there. And you can see that we're going to switch out the Pulse onto an Echo this time. Not seeing an Echo yet on this bomb site, I don't believe. Could help a little bit with relieving a little bit of the pressure off Thinking Nade with that smoke that he's been trying to play in that corner. Because it seems as though OrgLess is doing a very good job of trying to deal with that now, with my man going underneath and using Book, trying to use the grenades to sort of root Thinking Nade out of that spot.
But I think, yeah, but they did that last time, well, the time before that, when they did attack and they did lose it. I think the problem came down with Space Station, is that last time they managed to pick everyone who pushed through there. This time, OrgLess pushed through all together at the same time and just traded off each other, and they did so well to get control of the site so early on. Same castles coming down. I'm not sure if I really agree with these castles, but at the same time, I don't really agree with the way that OrgLess is taking it, because they're putting a Habana charges down onto the door, and they're putting it down onto the Billiards window. They're going to do the same thing again for Brian. I feel like they should just rotate around and open up the backside of Billiards if they want to deal with that smoke.
Yeah, if they went onto the roof and they were able to use the Hibana pellets onto that, that'd make a heck of a lot of sense. I guess the only thing that well, it's the same problem they're facing now, I guess. They're going to have to get the Thatcher grenade to the Thatcher pop an EMP over there, but they're having to do that now for the mute jammers anyway. So you're right, it really doesn't make too much difference, and especially when you've got both Book with the grenades and Zafir with the lifeline that are going to be able to deal with the castle. It just seems like maybe a small waste of utility. But I mean, Thatcher's got breaching charges. Like, breaching charges are perfect for getting rid of the castles.
Yeah, well, not if they're jammed.
But he's Thatcher.
That is true. That is true. He is Thatcher. He can use the EMP.
He can do anything.
He's allowed to do that. He can do anything he wants.
Thatcher's OP.
Definitely. So, we are going to see just about halfway through the round now, and we're going to see how it's going to go down. But you see drones are going to start coming out from OrgLess all across the board as they get control of Aquarium. So it's starting to look like they're going to go for the exact same push they did last time. Space Station did not do well to shut this down. I think a lot of it did come down to gunfighting, but a lot of it also came down to the fact that they were kind of all over the place, and that Thinking Nade's position was heavily compromised, both from the book from below, but also from the people pushing all the way up into his face.
Yeah, I mean, look at the angle that Hibana's holding there onto luggage. Oh, there's definitely someone just the other side of that shield, but Chala is not going to see him. He's going to go into his camera and get killed by Yeti. Yeti just crouch walking all the way in. He manages to pick up another onto Redeemer before Bosco shuts him down. Bosco has got the stim pistol in hand. He's juiced himself up to above 100. Thinking Nade now coming out with a kill onto Crazy, switching over onto the shotgun. Doesn't manage to pick up the kill onto Acid, as Acid there just aggressively peeks out onto Bosco. But Rampy is going to pick that up through the wall. Brian's got the diffuser in hand, but he's going to have a hard job trying to plant it now. Having said that, Rampy is on the prowl, but there's somebody coming up behind him on the Cool Vibe stairs, and I'm not sure if he's aware that that's where it's coming from. Is Rampy going to be able to pick up that kill? He knows he's got the diffuser down at this point, 25 seconds left on the clock. He may have intel in the bomb site that's going to enable him to make this push at just the right time. He's coming back into VIP door. He knows that the plant is going down at this point. He may even be able to hear it. He's going to pre-fire, and he is going to get that kill. That's a great clutch from Rampy, just taking himself out of the fight. I imagine he was maybe playing off information there from an echo drone, but I could be wrong. But very good game sense and perfect push. That's exactly what Space Station needed at this point.
Yeah, exactly what Rampy should have done in that situation. But overall, kind of a weird round for Space Station because they had decent intel on the site and they had decent intel onto what was going on in the hallway. And Chala knew that. Chala knew what was going on because he checked the cam and he saw they were about to get pushed from VIP. But he thought that Yeti was going to play it a lot more passively than he did. He was up on him immediately and Chala was completely caught by surprise. Yeti gets 2 kills. That should not be allowed to happen when they have intel.
Yeti's done that a couple of times this evening, and not just against SSG, but he's done it against Rise as well, where he just kind of crouch walks his way in and just gets away with it.
Yeti may be the best crouch walker of our time.
I think he's got some sort of like ninja slipper. He doesn't just press crouch, he like puts his ninja slippers on and he's able to really make no noise. But I mean, joking aside, I'm not sure if it's just like a heightened game sense and like an understanding of what's going to actually happen and what that player is likely to do in that situation, and he's able to just crouch walk in and really take advantage of that. And it does work for him.
Definitely. So, moving into round number 7 then, and we see OrgLess now on the defense. We've not seen Blue Bar Sunrise Bar before. Also, I want to point out as well, a lot of people call sunrise sunset. It's not called sunset. These suns are not setting. They are rising. I just want to point that out. It's very annoying when people call it sunset.
5 seconds left.
Sunset, sunrise.
This is where I go into ranked after this and people start calling it sunset immediately when they see me.
I might start calling it sunset just
Well,
for
there we
you, but no, we have seen Blue Bar start in round 3. OrgLess won it on attack, so it is doable on attack. It was the round where they just took really good control early on. I think, was it when Yeti jumped in and got a 3K?
Yeah.
I think it was that one.
Yeah, he jumps into sunrise.
Sunrise window.
Yeah.
Not sunset window. But yeah, it's definitely doable. It's an interesting pick, to be honest, for OrgLess to come out for their first round of defense to choose. Maybe a little bit bold. They've obviously got an idea of what they want to do. They're going to be playing the almost typical mirror castle arrangement down there, which is going to allow them to keep a nice line of sight onto outside kitchen corridor. And it's also going to allow them a good amount of protection from the castles. But Thinking Nade is well equipped with the book to take some upstairs control and make sure that he can get things open to gain some lines of sight down and on into sight.
Yeah, and you should be able to do that fairly effectively moving through, but moving further into round number 7's action phase now, we already see one frag go down just about. Yeti does indeed go down. Doesn't get confirmed just yet, down but not out. He could actually get revived. He is actually fairly safe right now, as also Jones coming out from SSG to try and see if they can confirm this kill. But the reinforcements actually go down. Oh my god! That is like 1 million IQ, but the nades come out. There's an ADS there! Oh my god! There's no way Yeti survives this.
Loading mag.
That is absurd.
He's still down. He's not going to have a hell of a lot of time to play with. He's sitting there at about a quarter or so of his bar left. Bosco there. That's a really good example from SSG about really not rushing the kill. They were almost baiting it to a point where they were hoping that someone was going to maybe try and come up and revive him, but ultimately they were just patient and able to pick up that kill. It's took them quite a bit of time to get to where they are right now, but I think they're probably in a very good position to be able to start opening up the floor, making some lines of sight, and putting some pressure down onto the remaining defenders downstairs.
Yeah, definitely going to be moving away where they can. OrgLess in a bit of a 4v5 situation, but not only that, we've got Thinking Nade on the book, and he's above, and it's Coastline. This is the disaster situation we were talking about just before the game started.
This is what you wanted to see. This is everything that you were wishing for, Thinking Nade on the book, and now you've got it, and he's going to be able to show his full capabilities opening up that Sunrise floor, or Sunrise ceiling, should I say, as the Capital bolts come in. Ooh, Acid just narrowly missing out a kill onto Shala, but does get a C4, which gets a heck of a lot of damage. 3 kills come out in quick succession. There's your kills from Thinking Nade, picking up 2 back-to-back. Crazy. Last man alive. Bosco shutting him down from outside in the courtyard. Great execute there from SSG. I feel they set themselves up perfectly for that. Thinking Nade picking up a great double at the same time as another kill coming through as well. You really can't argue with that kind of preparation for an execute.
Great as well, because they force Acid out of position using the Capital bolt from outside, And then, so he has to come through. He knows someone's pushing pool entrance still, probably. So he throws a nitro out there. He's just wasted his utility for basically no reason. And then he rotates to where he thinks he's safe, but oh no. Here comes Thinking Nade. As I said, Afro, 200 IQ plays. It is hiding that humongous brain of his as we move into round number 8. And again, we haven't seen Thinking Nade on the book. And he's just so horrible to deal with on the book. And especially on a map like Coastline, what do you do against it? You have to kill him. You can't let him get vertical plate, and they're still going downstairs as well. This makes it even worse.
There's certainly some off choices on bomb site coming out from OrgLess. Not really going with what you would expect, I guess. Or even what worked quite well for SSG on their defensive rounds. Like they were pretty successful in both Billiards and Penthouse. But to see them come downstairs twice, like you say, when they know they're against someone like Thinking Nade, who's just got that ability on the book, unless they're going to hold upstairs really hard, and they're going to hold VIP, and they're going to hold Penthouse and Theatre, they're going to have a really tough time. If that control is if they let that control go fairly early on into the round, I think the SSG are just going to be able to tear them apart from there.
Should be pretty good indeed. Let's see round number 8 getting underway, and see exactly how Spacestation want to try and take this on their attack after really coming off a very successful attack, and they're already up 5-2. I think, honestly, this was the kind of scoreline that I was expecting. I'm not sure about you, just with the way that SSG has been playing, and I think Coastline benefits them a lot. We were talking about how OrgLess took them to a map where it's kind of... They've been playing Oregon, it's very, very linear. We were talking about that. We were talking about how maybe OrgLess can play against SSG's superior strategy with just pure frag power from them, and they can just try and push it out like that in a linear map. And that's kind of how they did Oregon. Now we're in a much more complicated map, and now we're starting to see Space Station's arguably superior prep coming out in a much better way.
There's more that you can do in terms of preparation, I think, in Coastline, in terms of things that can be opened up. I mean, you look at Oregon and you look at Laundry, it's really heavily favoured. Oh, Rampy, they're going to lose a heck of a lot of damage. But I can't believe they managed to make that peak and stay alive without losing his life. It really looks as though he should have. He's definitely one bullet for most guns at this point. Brian there is going to narrowly miss out, but he is going to pick up the kill with the area of effect that is the Toxic Bay. That's going to be Rampy off the board. A good pick to get at that stage. You're going to lose some of the lifelines, and the lifelines are going to be able to tell you where people are in the site. So you might be able to find out if we've got Brian on the smoke playing behind the bomb or something like that. You're going to be able to discover that that's now no longer going to be a factor. But as we were discussing, upstairs control looks to be largely well established. I'm thinking Nade is he's pretty much used all of his skeleton key there, opening up in Penthouse. And he's going to open up a couple now into VIP, but I think that's pretty much all he's got in terms of ammunition in that. I would have maybe liked to see him open up a bit more of VIP, but I think he's possibly just trying to make Brian feel a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely, but Brian's not going to be uncomfortable. He's going to be perfectly comfortable there, holding out his angle. Just take down Redeemer. That's already losing your Capital. It's not great. Bosco does, however, find a kill onto Acid. That's the duck down. That's not a huge kill, but it is utility off the board in some way. Thinking Nade from above, however, is going to start doing work. That goes my man, and now it's a 3v3. Looking much, much better for Space Station to go for their execute. But they don't really have the necessary utility for this, but they do have upstairs control, and they have the ability to push all the way in. Bosco takes down Yeti, and this is looking much, much better. There we go! Chala takes down Brian, and all of a sudden it's down to Crazy in a 1v3. The plant should start to come down sooner rather than later. Crazy just pieced all the way out. Does manage to win the fight against Bosco. He tries to go huge, but he takes down the pistol. There goes Chala! Oh my god, it's a 1v1, but there we go. Thinking Nade saves the round. Big brain book player coming through does save us Space Station and put themselves onto map and match point overall. We're one round away.
Thinking Nade picking up the pieces there. It was so close. That would have been a great clutch. I think that would have been the clutch of the night if it had come through.
Space Station, you are one round away from sending yourselves to the Invitational. You have Thinking Nade on the book. You're on Coastline. You have not lost an attack round yet. Everything is in your favor. But this is where it all starts to go wrong. Because now, yes, he's had enough. He's picking the Rook. We're seeing the Doc from Acid. We're seeing the Cogs. I was really disappointed in that 6-pick, but it's understandable. I was really hoping that OrgLess was just going to say, you know what,
Attackers
let's
need
just
to
get
locate
aggressive,
and defuse
let's just
as
pick the
many bombs
ACOGs,
as they
let's just
can.
peek out. We're not winning this off of strategy, we're winning this off of gunfights.
What do you think the odds are on Yeti going for a spawn peak?
If I was a betting man, I would put it at 3-2.
Do you want me to tell you why I think it's high? Purely because,
It's match point.
well, not only that, but usually you see Yeti on the dock. Now, Doc loses a lot more utility if he dies from a spawn peak than Rook. Rook can put his armor down at the start of the round. You guys have got it. That's it.
10 seconds
It's
to
not
go.
the end of the world.
Attackers have
I don't
discovered
think
the
he's doing it
location
because
of a
there's 7
bomb.
seconds left, and unless he's
seconds
running
left.
to the window at the top of
White
black stairs. No, go on, please, please do it.
Yeah, okay.
He's going
okay.
for it.
Defuse a bomb.
Let's go.
I was definitely hoping for this, that Yeti would just start getting more aggressive. I don't think he's going to find anyone here, just because
That's so
the
unfortunate.
way that Spacestation should be pushing is not being that way. So I'm kind of confused why he's holding that angle, but it's unfortunate. He went for it. It didn't work. We're going to move past it. He's going to shoot the plate in frustration. Bit rude. Someone owns that plate, you know.
It's a clock.
It's plate clock. So, we're going to move through. It's going to be match point to Space Station, of course, and Yeti just going to be opening up some angles for himself here. Yeti's very, very dangerous on an ACOG, and we've already seen his striking potential be realized on pretty, multiple times in him crouch walking to sight, obviously. But he's a man who can consistently win gunfights, and that is something that is worth quite a bit, especially if you're playing in an ACOG.
He just establishes such a good foothold for himself that he's able to play off it, and he really just sort of owns an area that he can peek multiple angles from. And like you say, we've seen it time and time again this evening, where he's just able to get himself in like a bit of a power position almost, and then just play off it. Shots there coming into Redeemer doesn't quite manage to make anything real. Well, I guess he managed to make a bit connect with Yeti, but Redeemer certainly came off worse in that engagement. But we're seeing like Roman Rook at the minute. Yeti's all over the map at this stage. He's been absolutely everywhere. But I like this angle that he's playing now over from luggage side, and he's already made some holes pre-placed in VIP wall, which is going to allow him to peek on into that a little bit easier, and maybe even shoot off all those Hibana charges, although I do think they've just been detonated.
Here they do get a detonator, but Yeti does find the first kill of the round. There goes Bosco already. Those are smokes off the board, but not all of them. We still have the Capitao, so it's not the end of the world. There go flashbangs coming out from Charla, and he's going to be able to try and get this mirror window. Jones are going to start coming out, of course, from Charla to see if the plant is safe and they have control. Just about a minute left to go on the clock. This all of a sudden isn't looking that great for SSG. Yes, they have the utility, yes, they have the potential to plant, but they haven't really done that much work on the actual defenders themselves. The plant is going to start coming down from Charla, but there we go with the Nitro! Oh, that's a beautiful Nitro from Acid. He just sends Charla flying. And now they don't have anything. Acid picks up another kill as well, there goes Redeemer. And now all of a sudden, Space Station find themselves in a 5v2. But there we go, Thinking Nade takes down Crazy. Now it's a 4v2. They're trying to work it back, and they're doing so well to try and even the scoreboard out here. But they're running out of time. They're running out of patience, and they're running out of opportunities as Rampy does go down as well. And now it's all down to Thinking Nade. He's going to try and think about this nade, and jumps in while throwing a nade at the same time. Moves all the way in, tries to recover Rampy, but goes down. Brian with a double kill right at the end. OrgLess take round number 9, and are still keeping themselves in this. This is going to be so frustrating for Space Station.
It's just relentless, isn't it? Space Station get themselves to the point where they're within, they can taste it, they can smell it, and OrgLess just come out with a really, really well executed round. And I think Yeti played a really big role in that, in the way that he roamed around as the dock. I know he went for a bit of a reckless start in the spawn peak, but that kind of worked that it didn't work, because he was then able to, move off that. He opened the holes in VIP wall, which he were able to play off later. And he only got killed in I think he was one of the last defenders to die in VIP. So he played his life absolutely perfectly. But SSG really didn't deal with any of the defenders in any such way, and there's only a very slim chance of an attack working if you're just going to try and brute force your way through Hall of Fame door as like a 3-man push.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
OrgLess, however, in a bit of an uphill battle now, and they will go back down to kitchen surface entrance defense. This was insanely close, but very surprisingly so, because it was a 1v3. It shouldn't have been as close as it was, because it did come down to a 1v1, and then Thinking they saved the round. But yeah, I think Bosco's had enough of it, in my opinion, if you see the operator he's playing here.
BB.
Bosco defined Blackbeard back in the day. And you can tell Spacestation have quite had enough of OrgLess's games. They're not allowing them to peek off heavily. They're not going to allow them to play aggressively. They're going to Montreal. They don't care what you're doing, OrgLess. They're going to shut you down as soon as you try and get anywhere near aggressive. Let's see how it does go down. Spacestation within 1 round of securing the series. Let's see how they take it down.
Let's see, indeed. I'm sure that they're going to, you know, they're at the point now where they really don't want to let too many rounds slip, because we've seen what happens when they do that, and you know, it's very easy to lose control over a match. And when you've got a couple of rounds advantage, yeah, you can make a few more riskier plays, but ultimately you've still got to make sure that you're doing the basics and you're winning the gunfights. And I think SSG now, are we going to see them ramp it up a gear a little bit and just really try and close this one out?
Hopefully so, hopefully so. I mean, Spacestation lost that off of the back of losing multiple gunfights to members of OrgLess who were being way too aggressive and just peeking everything. But it works sometimes. It works when you've been playing a certain way for a very long time. It does work. But Spacestation have recognized now, okay, this is how we want to play. We'll play like this. We're just going to play Blackbeard, and we're going to put Bosco on it, and we're going to destroy anyone who tries to peek it. And we'll see how that's going to work out for them. I'm confident, just because it's Bosco, and it's a Blackbeard, and it's Coastline. But I'm also kind of weary because, you know, Yeti has proven himself quite a number of times on these peaks. And, you know, he's been doing fairly well with it. But he's actually not playing on the Echo, which is surprising.
A bomb has been located.
Yeah, it really is a little bit surprising. We've seen Acid doing some great work on Legion. And we've seen, I mean, they've not brought a mirror this time. So there is a slight variation in the setup. But I'm not sure how much control SSG have actually got upstairs. Shala there just brute forcing his way in and losing his life, being downed in the process. Redeemer is actually getting the plant down, and it will stick. Oh no, he has to come off it. Yeti is going to peek out and confirm the kill onto Shala, but Rampy there misses his shots, and Yeti and Maman are able to pick up a kill apiece. It's now all down to Bosco and Thinking Nade. The diffuser is on the floor in the doorway. It's not looking too good at this point. My man's going to pick up the kill onto Thinking Nade. Bosco, is he going to be able to put the shield to this much work with only a minute left on the clock in a 1 versus 5 situation? The diffuser is not in hand. It's going to be being guarded very, very closely at this point. And OrgLess have got no business peeking anything here. They really don't need to at this stage. Toxic Bay comes out. That's going to deny another 15 to 20 seconds of the timer. And there's not a lot of time left on that at all. 30 seconds or so left on the clock. Bosco's left with no real option here. He's going to be receiving some pretty heavy shots. Doesn't quite manage to make anything stick. Yeti getting his kill onto Bosco. Is this the OrgLess comeback?
This is really going to be insanely frustrating for Spacestation, because OrgLess at this point, they don't have anything to lose. They can just start playing insanely aggressively, and it's match point. They're 1 round away. But now OrgLess have really started to close the gap. Now they can start playing a little bit more conservatively, and they rightfully should at this point, just because, you know, Space is going to expect that. But then again, it's been working for them. It's been working. It's the only defensive rounds they've been able to find are when they've been super aggressive and just trying to run out and peek everything, because Space Station seem to think they're still in a regular game when they're not. This is a Thunderdome game.
It's just so back and forth. You can tell that both teams really, really want it at this stage. We've seen Blue Bar twice this evening. It's been won both times by the attackers. So that's one apiece. So OrgLess have won it on attack once, and SSG have won it on attack once. I think, you know, the time that OrgLess won it, they really took a lot of initiative. Yeti busted in, got a 3K. I'm not sure what they're going to have to do here, but this has got to be this is a really big round for SSG, because as soon as you lose this one, you're then looking at, we need to win the next one to not go to OT.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure on this round to win it, because the next round they really need to win that. Otherwise it goes to OT, and all of a sudden it could be anybody. So I'd like to see him take a little bit more time in the setup this time, and just have a very, because last time they just, you know, that last attack on Kitchen, they just ran in.
Yeah.
And the last attack on VIP before that, sorry, on Penthouse through VIP before that, they just ran in again. And They've proven that they can do really good executes tonight. I just want to see them deploy the utility in such a way that it's going to allow them to do so.
I feel like Spacestation are kind of scrambling at the moment with the fact that they're rotating their roster around so much when previously we haven't really seen them pull out anything different, well, to a certain extent, but they're really looking to close out this round and they're pulling out everything they can for this, pulling out so many different rosters. Maybe this will work for them, maybe it won't. I'm intrigued to find out how this Ying is going to get deployed, mostly because there's no Jaeger from the defense.
Yeah, there's plenty of potential there with Thinking Nade with his frag grenades. And obviously, like you say, the Ying as well. If they are going to go for like the brute force into sight approach, Ying's probably one of the better operators to bring for that because it can provide a lot of shock and awe in doing so. And if Yeti's going to be playing up here in billiards and they're not going to want to deal with that all too directly, or they're going to want to use the Ying to deal with that very directly. But Yeti there going to get a nice rotation hole opened up by one of his fellow teammates, and that's going to allow him to get back down into the safety of the blue bar.
The safety of the blue bar, indeed. You should be safe and sound. And Sunrise now just holding down the very same angle that he was holding when he got his 3K on the attack. So this is very interesting. Clearly a very powerful angle for Yeti to play. OrgLess looking pretty heavily in control right now, but they're playing nowhere near as aggressive as they were before. I'm wondering if Spacestation have started to catch up here because they seem to be moving awfully slowly.
I just think they're at the point now where they don't really want to make any mistakes. They've got a bit of time to play with in that they don't need to be rushing things like they have in the past 2 rounds. The control they've got at this point is relatively decent. Thinking Nade's got a lot of upstairs open. He's not got too much of a concern. I think that Mute maybe has a nitro cell in his pocket, so he's going to want to be very wary of that and keep on the move. But it's not like there's a pulse plane underneath and he's going to have to really worry too much about that. And the push now is going to oh, that's a big kill to take out there. Thinking they're going to get that kill onto Yeti. So, you know, Yeti's been doing great work with the ACOG and really very good work on Rook especially. So to be able to take him out from above is pretty big at this point. The Yings are going to come out and Thinking Nade is going to be able to watch upstairs as well. Chala is going to go in and the defuse is going to go down. He's going to run away actually, I'm not sure quite why. Crazy gets a kill onto Rampy. Thinking Nade and Bosco picking up one apiece. Acid gets a nice kill there onto Bosco. 8 seconds left on the clock. There is not a lot of time. Acid's going to peek onto Sharla, and that's the diffuser going to be down but not planted. Is Redeemer planting this diffuser? Thinking Nade picking up the kill onto Maman. Acid picking up the kill onto Thinking Nade. The diffuse is going down. Redeemer has to come off it. Acid is going to get that kill, and that is going to be a great pick, a great round. Acid's played out of his skin there. He's done fantastically. Just stop showboating and get the defuse, please.
How does that happen? How do you lose that? It was a 4v2 Space Station, please! You need to go on a trip in your favorite rocket ship and it's just not happening right now. It was a 4v2. That was so close. It was in match point and there we go. Acid just testing out his C key, very rightly so. Because he just clutched that. He won 4 gunfights in a row, and he completely brought it in. Space Station are going to be very frustrated after that, because that was probably one of their better attacks since they started losing rounds on their attacks.
They did a really good execute, but I didn't see why Shala ran out. You know,
so
initially...
there was a shotgun kill that happened, and I think that he got a bit afraid that he's going to try and put this diffuser down, and he's going to start getting pushed out. Because really, where their execute came down is their Candelas went out, but that's momentum-based, right? If you're not pushing off of that, and then something goes into your line, then you kind of like have to reposition yourself. So maybe it was a mistake. Maybe you should have just took the plant. But at that point, I don't know. Could have been potentially devastating. I just think they should have just killed the man. Just kill him. He was right there. It was a 4v2. They could have refragged him, and he just went all, again, pear-shaped.
I mean, you can't take it away from Acid. Acid came in clutch there, really.
Yeah, Acid did insanely well to get as many kills as he did. And to clutch in not just that situation, but into the whole match situation right now, where intensive pressure is going on. You really have to give it to him. But we're still on match point. OrgLess are looking to bring this into overtime.
How excited on a scale of 1 to 10 do you think OrgLess are right now? Because this is pretty close for them.
Maybe they're really calm. Maybe we're completely misjudging the situation and they're just like, oh, this is just like ranked, it's really fun.
I think there's got to be a level of excitement that comes into this because they've done so well to bring this back. This looked like a really clear-cut map.
I know that Yeti can get very, very passionate about this game at times, so he's got to be tripping right now. And yeah, he's like, you can see it in his mouse movements. He's definitely on one right now, but looking really good for OrgLess right now because they're just taking rounds. They're taking these Ws, they're handing out the Ls, and Spacestation just don't have an answer for it right now. They've tried pretty much everything in their arsenal, it seems, as they're going back to their Ying strategy, but this time there's a Jaeger.
Yeah, and that's something that was certainly missing last time. Although, like you say, the push off the Ying didn't really come to anything because as soon as Shallow pushed in, he pushed out again, and the Ying was then rendered pretty much useless. Crazy there is going to fall. Rampy picking up that opening kill. That could be pretty big at this stage. Minute or so gone off the clock, and Rampy's now got himself good control of Sunrise. So he's well established at this point. I think Crazy there is... He's kind of just roaming for a kill maybe, or maybe a little bit of information as to where the push is coming. But ultimately he's not got like a really, you know, he's not really lost out on anything there. That's just a gunfight that he could have, either guy would have won it and it wouldn't have got traded back just because of the way that it was being pushed. But this is a nice angle that Yeti's holding from Billiards all the way through onto Hall of Fame door. But he's, you know, he's going to rotate off that just ever so slightly and maybe put himself in a bit of a better position to get a kill, maybe onto the window, or again just repositioning himself, getting ready for this push because it is certainly going to start coming now with about a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, it should start going down indeed. Yeti playing this still very aggressively, but it is a 5v4. Yeti getting so aggressive, but he doesn't get the kill just yet, and he's getting pushed. Oh my god, how does Yeti get out of that situation? He just gets all the way back, the smokes go down to cover him. This is beautiful from OrgLess. And just Yeti getting out of that. SSG just lose a massive opportunity to shut down one of the most powerful fraggers coming out from OrgLess right now. They have to move up. They have to start going through execute. They do have a one-man advantage going in here, so it's still looking very, very good indeed. Yeti just holding down this very nice angle. Candelas are going to start going out. The push is coming down from Space Station. More Candelas go out. Yeti's completely blinded. They need to capitalize on this and thinking they will do exactly that. My man goes down. Charla moves all the way in to go for the plant. This is looking very, very good for Space Station to try and secure the round now. And now it's a 3v5. Yeti's taking increased damage. He's got to go big here. But oh no, he won't be able to get the kill. It's all down to Brian all of a sudden. There's a flurry of kills. It's a massacre right now for OrgLess. Brian's got to find 4. He's got his Hibble Diffuser as well. He's running out of time. He tries to peek around, but Bosco takes him down! And there we go. Space Station are going on a trip in their favorite rocket ship. They will be heading to Montreal. Beautiful rounds coming up from Space Station. Eventually clutching it through, taking the series 2-1, taking the map 7-5. They're taking Montreal by storm.
And we even get the nice Thatcher Elite there.
That's why Bosco brought
from Bosco as the animation there to close things out. But you can see there from the scoreboard what a serious game that was. Frags coming out from absolutely everybody. Bosco, Thinking Aid and Rampy all really heavily contributing to that victory. But GG's to Space Station. They did a fantastic job there. I think they made it a little bit harder than they maybe needed to. But
they're just adding the drama in. It's just trying to make it a good
conversation. Yeah. But you know, you really can't take anything away from the OrgLess guys. You've got to feel for them. They've got to within 1 round of OT, and it really could have gone either way at most points. It was only the adaptation from Space Station of bringing the Ying that caused them to be able to win that. Because if you notice, they pushed it exactly the same as they pushed the previous penthouse all through Hall of Fame door, with 2 exceptions. Bosco was playing underneath and then rotated onto Black Stairs, and the Ying allowed them to be able to, you know, the Ying was deployed to allow them to push in, and that's ultimately what won them the adaptation. But fantastic game from Space Station and OrgLess.
And I'm sure Intero can relax now.
Rest easy.
He doesn't have to drink any milk on stream, although one day we'd definitely like to see that happen, but it's not going to happen just yet. Space Station will take the series 2-1. They will be your victors of the grand finals of qualify. They will be going to Montreal next month, and they will be playing for, what's the prize pool out? Something over $1 million now. That's a lot of moolah. That's a lot of green. That should be very good indeed. We're going to have an interview, actually, at the moment, shortly, with one of the winning members from Space Station Gaming. That'll be coming up in just a few moments for you guys. What do we think of that series? That was incredible.
It was everything that we wanted it to be. There was the drama. You know, I mean, the Rise Nation and OrgLess game wasn't so clear-cut either.
No.
So that was an interesting one to sort of lead us into the drama that unfolded with the 3-map saga, if you will, of OrgLess versus SSG.
Definitely. So, yeah, incredible series coming out there, and really well played from OrgLess. Nothing to downplay from them. They are a Pro League team. They've been doing very well for themselves recently, and it's no easy task to take on one of the better teams in North America as of recent history and come out in such a close scoreline in such an important game.
Especially with how many games and how many rounds OrgLess have played back-to-back today.
Yeah.
Like, they've been grinding. You know, they've played a big game against Rise, which they'll have no doubt practiced for beforehand.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of getting warm, getting on as a team, all having a couple of games and getting together. So they've played that. They've then played against Rise, and then they've gone on and played against Spacestation as well. They've really put the work in tonight, and you know, you can't help but take your hat off to them and say, you know, well done, guys, you've done a fantastic job. And it was so close on the night.
Yeah, and I'm sure OrgLess, they put up a good fight, but unfortunately, the scoreline, which most people were expecting, did go through. But maybe not quite in the way that other people were expecting. It was an insanely close game. And as you said, like, very easily could have gone either way. There were a few mistakes from both sides. That's natural.
Definitely.
It's definitely natural. I think Space Station, towards the end there, definitely couldn't deal with a completely different playstyle of OrgLess. They completely changed everything up on match point, and all of a sudden Space Station, they start changing up, they start trying to adapt as quickly as possible. Things just started to not to work, and it seemed like things were going to start crumbling at any second.
I think you're right. It was at the point where SSG got to match point, and they kind of, you know, OrgLess kind of got to the point where they were like, we've got nothing to lose. We're going to play just however we want. And that made them then very unpredictable. And, you know, playing like you've got nothing to lose can be a very dangerous thing to do for your opponent because they're not too sure on how to do that. So it was good adaptation from SSG to be able to deal with that on the fly. But it's a good job they had a couple of rounds ready, you know, in the bank to be able to do that with.
Well, talking about SSG and their victory, we are going to have an interview coming up right now. It's going to be Lycan. Lycan, how are you doing tonight? I'm sure you're feeling very, very happy after that win.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much.
How do you feel coming out of that? How do the guys feel?
I mean, like, this was really big for us, to be honest. When we went to Sweden, we didn't really expect to get beat by Penta, and I think we thought we had it more than we did, and they played a great game. So this whole tournament for us has been about proving to ourselves, like, that we should have already been there. So
do you want to talk a little bit about earlier in this tournament as well, where you faced 92 Dream Team? How was that for a match for you? Because that was your first matchup of the Stage 2 part, and it was a much closer game than I think other people would have predicted.
Yeah, if anyone from 92 Dream Team's watching, I've been saying this a couple times, but I don't know if they've heard me say it yet, but thank you very much. When they beat us on Consulate, it woke us up big time, and we all got our shit together, and we started working more as a team. We kind of had phases of this team, and when they did that to us, we considered ourselves back at pre-Sweden, and then we just rolled through the rest of the tournament.
Definitely. Really well played by you guys to completely roll over. You did play OrgLess previously in the tournament. You did knock them down into the lower bracket. What were you expecting, and did those same expectations come to fruition when you actually played them?
Well, we weren't supposed to play them that early, but I'm not going to go into that on stream. But it did cause us the second time we came around to have to like change up our bands because we didn't want to play them on the same maps. So that's what made Oregon go through. We knew they were a really good Oregon team because they were able to beat EG on Oregon. So if you can beat EG on Oregon, obviously it's really hard to deal with. We almost did it. We weren't able to make it through. So yeah, I mean, I think we expected this to kind of be the way it was. It came down. If we got Oregon, that would have been really cool, but we didn't. You know, it is what it is.
What do you think about the book ban that came through on Clubhouse? Was that expected from you guys?
I don't know. I don't want to like bash it, but like basically when they banned Buck, like I can't even tell you how happy Thinking Nate was. Like I don't know. Buck's like one of those things where you have to play, but the gun sucks. And so when like you ban it, the Buck player's like, yes, let's go. So Nate was excited about it. It didn't really affect us at all. I don't think. I'm not sure why they did it, but I'm sure like they had a good reason for it.
Yeah, and you stormed through that map quite well. And going into the second map, though, Oregon, you say that you maybe weren't so confident going against them. You knew they were a good Oregon team. So then we go to our decider. Things were looking very, very good for you early on. What happened?
Well, basically, they knew, like, if they lost one more round, it was over. So it kind of felt like they just kind of said, you know, whatever happens, happens. Everyone grab an ACOG and get aggressive. Try to, like, get picks early, kind of, like, do that. And I think another part of it, honestly, is we're not used to... We're having, like, an issue, like, actually clutching at the end. Like, we get all the way to the end of the tournament, and then we'll lose. So, like, we're still a young team, and we have, like, a lot of young players that haven't gone to a lot of LANs. So we're still working on, like, that final round, like, sealing the deal. So it was probably a combination between those two things that caused it.
There was a lot of times throughout the games, I noticed something that OrgLess wasn't quite doing that you guys were doing a little bit better. Adaptation, changing up your lineup, changing up your setups when things weren't working. How does that process work? Are these things that you've tried run before and people just know what to do? Is it something that you're calling out? Is it something that someone from the team's calling out? Guide us through that process.
Well, it's something that Redeemer and Bosca mostly are calling out. It's things that I call out in practice, and they, like, learn, like, how I want them to play. But yeah, pretty much, like, my big motto for them is mix it up. I like to tell them all the time, like, even though, like, this is your default strat, but, like, once you see what they're doing, like, you can completely change it into something different. So
definitely. Well,
that's what they just
about all we have time for in this interview. Anything to close out this? Anything you want to say to the fans out there?
Thanks everyone for showing up and watching. Appreciate it. And yeah, we're excited by the invite. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I'll see you there in person. I'm sure you guys will do great in Invite. Have a good day.
All right, thanks.